The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
Why?
Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pig!
Stop! Damn it! Your friend tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people. And welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this glorious Overreaction Monday, September 9, 2024. This program starts now. Football is amazing, and the college slate on Saturday was magnificent, and then a full NFL Sunday slate gave us so many things that make us even more zeeked up that we're in the middle of full football season. We had some comebacks that are going to be talked about later in the year as maybe they're some of the best comebacks of all time. We had some blowouts. Some teams might stink. Some teams might say. We had some good news. We had some bad news, some injuries, which we didn't know was coming. And in my dream last week, the dream catcher sent one through that said that there was going to be no injuries this year. Live text just said that was a lie, which is obviously a bummer. We have some teams that think they're going to be able to win a Super Bowl when maybe they weren't. And then we have some teams that think they're going to maybe have to rebuild after they go, We saw an offseason for a team like the New York Giants and the decisions that were made. We saw ownership go, oh, boy, if you do what you're about to do, I'm going to shit my pants. And then I'm going to stare at the ceiling and wonder why my team sucks so bad. Boom, Saquon's gone. Saquon scores all the touchdowns in Brazil for the Philadelphia Eagles, and then the New York Giants just get boat raced by the Minnesota. So whenever you're talking about storylines, we're less than 24 hours away from a full NFL Sunday slate for the first time this season, and we already got like 20, 30 storylines brewing. I am so incredibly pumped for the Detroit Football Lions.
Oh, hell yeah.
Gave us an overtime game on Sunday Night Football when they had a massive lead. Then all of a sudden people were thinking about the bone-in wings, and then all of a sudden Matthew Stafford, almost Matthew Stafford's in the town in which he created Matthew Staffording, and instead we have a Sunday Night Football that goes to overtime, and then tonight, week one of the NFL slate wraps up with the San Francisco 49ers playing host to the New York Jets. Niners favored by 3.5. Obviously, their offseason is what it is and has been what it was, but something brought them together, and that was potentially one of their players getting shot in a public place at 3:30 in the afternoon. Then the other team still has the only active holdout in the NFL, and Hassan Reddick, who will be fined $800,000 whenever he misses tonight's game, alongside all of his training camp things. But Aaron Rodgers is back after only getting to play 4 off-season plays for the New York Jets 1 year ago before tearing his Achilles. Now, his Achilles obviously happens in the first game, and he was ready to come back at the end of last year if they would have still been mathematically in the hunt. How will that Achilles be? Because we saw another guy who had a recovery from an Achilles at a quarterback position in a much shorter amount of time not look great.
No, not at all.
And because that team drafted somebody top 10 at quarterback, those calls for the $180 million quarterback to not be on the field and have the top 10 quarterback on the field have already begun. Once again, we are less than 24 hours removed from the first NFL Sunday slate. It is glorious. Let's go to the toxic table at Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt. Con man, biggest upset in the history of football this weekend.
Boom! How about it? And who was it? It was New England Patriots. It was Gerard Mayo. It was Ramondre Stevenson. It was a bunch of guys that nobody wanted, essentially. Nobody wanted to be on their football team. No one was happy about Jacoby Brissett, back up. And look at this offensive line. Not much push, but getting the job done. Ramondre went off. I mean, he was one of the top performing running backs all weekend. I think he had 120 rush yards, a couple catches, touchdown, of course, the only one for the Patriots of the day. But Jacoby Brissett, I'm just going to say it, he made 0 bad decisions. And for the entire weekend, there weren't many quarterbacks making zero bad decisions here. Of course, the push is starting with the center, David Andrews. He's basically walking guys into the end zone, and then Stevenson gets home. And that was one of those moments when the Patriots are up 7-0, like, holy shit, this might happen. And then when you got Keon White, who, when he got drafted, everyone said, that guy's 45 years old. I don't know how he's getting drafted at this moment in time, playing the way he did, 2.5 sacks, probably the biggest performance on the defensive side from the New England Patriots, aside from that play right there, Kyle Duggar. And that was kind of the play you look back on during the game, like, oh, that is exactly why the Patriots won the game. The play before this, too, Mike Gesicki touchdown, got called back, didn't actually catch it, did a sick gritty throughout the entire end zone.
Well, that's Gesicki football.
Yeah, exactly. That's just kind of what Mikey does. And, it was a revenge game for him, so I'm bummed that he didn't score against the Pats. But, no, it was incredible. The defense is exactly what we thought they were going to be. Incredible on the back end. The Bengals couldn't get open whatsoever. If you look at Joey Burrow's pass chart, it wasn't good. He could only kind of throw short balls. This was the biggest thing, though. 3rd and 5, basically all day we were getting him to 3rd down and then stopping him. A lot of pressure from Uche and Keon White. Those are kind of the two biggest guys as far as getting to Burrow, and then Christian Gonzalez covering Jamar Chase. I tweeted at AP Tone, hey, you better take note of this guy, okay? One-on-one against Jamar Chase. He had 3 catches for 13 yards. That was it. But it was an incredible day. Huge victory for the Patriots. Just happy to have one. And, the culture's turning back. We're winning some football.
Massive, massive upset. We'll ask Bill Belichick what his thoughts were on that particular Patriots performance in about an hour or so. Defense seemingly was just going to be expected to be sound.
Yeah.
But they're taking on Joey Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. And now there was some shots on the sideline. Joey Burrow working that wrist. Now, is that just normal? We don't know. He did hurt it last year, and that particular injury is one that is certainly hindered defensive players in the past. But we were told that the surgery happened so quick after the injury that the blood flow was always through there, so he should be in a good spot. Didn't feel like it was anything, but as we go through this season, Cincinnati Bengals dealt with some drama in the offseason.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Remember, Jamar Chase didn't do anything. Then he came back. Then he's in. Then he has food poisoning, and he almost got hit by the RAV4. And everything going. It's like the Bengals notoriously slow starters. But we thought because Joey Burrow had his first full training camp. Remember, he had appendicitis.
Yep.
Then he had like a knee thing.
Yep.
Then he had an arm thing. It was like every training camp he kind of was bitten by this unfortunate bug. This year he was there the entire training camp. Jamar Chase wasn't. Whatever the case, Patriots get a massive win. Maybe they're better than we could have expected.
Maybe.
It feels that way.
Maybe the Patriots are being undersold by a Patriots fan. And maybe Coach Mayo is the new leader in the clubhouse for hilarious things being said in interviews and press conferences. I will not be the one that will quote what Coach Mayo said about Jacoby Brissett. It feels like a safe idea there.
Yeah, I think
just
so.
Because, that entire. But Coach Mayo is talking the way Coach Mayo is handling that culture of that locker room, and they get a massive win over Cincinnati early, who had Super Bowl hopes. It's like Coach Mayo can be like, we can beat anybody. Look, we can beat anybody. We can beat anybody. All it takes is one of those things to get rolling, and then Jacoby Brissett playing such good football, we don't have to rush into Drake May.
Nope.
We don't have to rush into Drake May at all. Get a chance to experience it. Congrats to the New England Patriots. Let's go to the NFC North, Ty Schmidt, shall we? Last night, in prime time, the Detroit Lions were just beating that ass.
Yep.
Rams had no shot. They were down 17-zip. And then what? Well, here's Detroit Lions are balling. Just absolutely balling. Moving the ball on the ground. Jared Goff's doing Jared Goff stuff. Johnson's calling up the right plays. MCDC looks incredibly cool. The defense was just absolutely pummeling the Los Angeles Rams offense. And then all of a sudden,
boom.
Jameis a weapon, man. This guy is so fast.
So fast.
I have no idea if Jameson Williams is going to be able to survive an entire season because of how fast he is. He got his legs tangled up one time last night, and I thought it was
bad
because of how fast he's rolling. There's a lot of potential. It's like when you're skiing.
Yeah.
When you're skiing, there's a chance that thing digs in, boom, and then a bang. That happens. That's like what Jameson's doing at all times. He seems to be running faster than everybody else around him. Much like Tyreek Hill, who we will get into, who was not running fast at all before that game.
No.
He was going 0 miles an hour.
0.
He was going. Was there a knee
Sure looked like
Was
it.
there a knee?
Sure looked like it.
Anyways, Detroit Lions give up a massive lead to Matthew Stafford getting back into it, and then they just run the ball down the field in overtime. First drive, first series. David Montgomery, a full dose of it, a buffet of Montgomery in this Detroit Lions offensive line, and they score a touchdown. Matthew Stafford doesn't even have a chance to answer. To the surprise of Chris Collinsworth, who remembers playoff rules they changed because of the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes situation a few years back with the 13 seconds. Game over. Lions win. Let's stay in the NFC North. Packers lose. At Ty Schmidt. Jordan Love out 4-6, they're saying, I think, is the initial diagnosis. We'll talk to Schefter in like 17 minutes. We worried about the Packers, or are we incredibly optimistic about this Philadelphia Eagles team? And that game feels like it happened so long ago.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think the Eagles are going to be very good, obviously, when you look at all the weapons. I mean, Saquon looked unbelievable. Now, granted, a lot of people were talking about the condition of the field in Brazil, where damn near every single guy in the field was slipping and sliding. It seemed like every time someone went out for a pass, there was no defender within 12 yards of them because guys were just slipping and sliding everywhere. Obviously, Packers dodged a massive bullet from the look of it, it was like, Jordan Love either tore his ACL, his MCL, or he, fractured his kneecap or whatever the case may be. So him potentially only being out, 3 to 4 weeks. A lot of people are saying maybe on the early side of that. That's huge. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with the Packers as it has been. They dominated the first half of that game. They kicked field goals in the red zone instead of scoring touchdowns. But I think the biggest thing to take away if you're a Packers fan and you don't want to hit the panic button is the defense did look a little bit different. Obviously, like as the game went on, Saquon kind of got his footing and ended up tearing him up. But they caused 3 turnovers, which they weren't causing any turnovers last year. And everyone said it, new defensive coordinator. It's going to take them a little bit of time, I think, to kind of find their footing in that new scheme. And obviously, I think when it's a game in Brazil, you kind of throw everything out the window. It's different. Guys were cramping up. It's hot. It's so much different than what it normally is. So, yeah, should they have won that game? I think they should have. But they didn't. They dodge a bullet with Love not being out for the season. And now we'll see what happens when they have the home opener next week against the Colts.
5 seconds left in the game whenever that happens to Jordan Love. Obviously an incredible bummer. Had to be in, though. Obviously still in it. We can win this entire thing. Malik Willis not getting Hail Mary off, I think, is certainly an interesting situation.
Yeah, I got to trade for Tannehill or something. Or you got to sign Tannehill.
Not a bad
Full
idea.
panic, okay, potential.
No, it's just you were never expecting Malik Willis to have to take.
They traded for him.
They did.
They traded for him.
Yeah,
They traded for him.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, sit your ass on the bench, learn from this guy, and then maybe we could trade you for like a 4th-round pick.
You only saw 4 seconds of Malik Willis.
And that's all I needed. We cannot have that guy taking meaningful snaps in week 2. Just can't happen. Can't happen.
Gotta stay alive until Jordan gets
Exactly. Got to win at least 2 of these games.
Malik, we would like to let you know, we think that's incredibly unfair for him to judge you that way. Guy was 5 seconds left of the game. He's just been chilling over here.
Yeah.
Just been chilling over there. And he's going to come in and huck a Hail Mary.
He's no stranger to sitting his ass behind Ryan Tannehill. So why not just do it again for a few more games?
All right. And on the opposite side there, when you talk about the NFC, obviously everybody's talking about the San Francisco 49ers, massive night tonight. But last year going into the season, it was the Philadelphia Eagles. At the end of the year, just real bad.
Yeah.
Big Dom, obviously a potential massive reason for that. He gets kicked off the sideline, suspended from the sideline for the rest of the season. I don't think they won a game or even got a first down after that happened. A lot of people didn't respect the Big Dom effect enough, I think, in the sports world. But the Eagles I like the way Saquon introduced himself to that particular offense. I like the way AJ's doing his thing. I like the way Devontae has his own role. I like the way Sirianni's more hands-on. It feels like the Eagles might be back a little bit, right? And this is 1 week, but it does feel like there's another team that's back in the NFC conversation, and we thought it would. We didn't know if that was going to happen.
Yeah, kind of like opposite of Cincinnati. Philly always starts off fast. Jalen Hurts made plays. Saquon having that dynamic. Somebody that can get out of the backfield, he can protect. He can obviously hit a home run. Anytime he touches the ball. A.J. Brown, one of the best receivers in the league, has been for a while. Devontae, probably one of the best number 2s. But defensively, that first rounder, Mitchell, he locked up. He strapped up all night long. So love seeing that. The Eagles definitely need that. Definitely need to continue to get better on defense. But I love what I saw from Philly early on. They were were my preseason Super Bowl pick.
Oh,
is that right?
So I still feel great about it.
In years past, you've picked the Chargers, and obviously that has not gone well, even though they might be back.
They could be.
Who's got it better than us?
Nobody!
Great to hear that back. Seemed like the boys were juiced. J.K. Dobbins will join us at 2:05 Eastern time. Let's go. Shout out to the Eagles getting back, seemingly. And it has to be a lot more fun time there than it was at the end of the year last year. Very early. A lot of things can change. Speaking of very early and things can change, thought the Jaguars were going to beat the Miami Dolphins. Now, obviously, the big story of that particular game is the fact that Tyreek Hill, right outside of the stadium, which potentially has his face on the side of it.
Yeah.
But I have not been down there. It's too hot.
Assume
so hot. Too hot down there. I get cooked inside and out. I can't do a lot of time down there. But I assume his face is on the outside of said stadium. So getting to stadium, and we don't know the whole story. I'm assuming a guy going to work, not wanting the shits. Sure. This is me just assuming somebody that's about to go play an opening weekend. First game of the season, got cut off last year because of an injury. He was on pace to be MVP potentially, the first MVP that isn't a quarterback in some time. And then all of a sudden, we open our phones, just like when Scotty Scheffler was on in Louisville, Kentucky. Man. We see him cuffed, knee to the back, walking down the sideline. Then you see Rolls Royce pull up, which we find out is Calais Campbell, I do believe. Walter Payton Man of the Year, Calais Campbell. He then ends up in cuffs for not taking orders or something like that, because he was probably like, yo, look at that's the fucking guy. This is literally the guy. So they'll do their investigations, and somebody was sent to administrative duties, so take him off street. Let's go ahead and have him do some paperwork, I guess, is the entirety of it all. And I don't know what the answer is going to be at the end of it, but this seems like a lack of, self-awareness at all for any situation. I get a chance to travel around a lot and interact with a lot of police officers from local communities. And everybody that I've ever worked with, like these Ann Arbor police, they do research. They know who's coming, they know who's what, they understand that. So this is whenever we're coming from out of town. Like the Ann Arbor police knew all of it. They knew exactly what the deal was. They knew everything, clearly did their research. Other game day cities do the same thing. It's like in Miami, outside the stadium, Scotty Scheffler's not from Louisville, even though I think those police officers should have done their research and knew who was doing it, because you're on a task, you're getting hired and paid to do this. You should at least do some research so you know what the hell's going on. But outside of the stadium in Miami, with what we've seen go on at that stadium, is just a wild scene. Yeah. That's a wild, wild scene. I don't know how it's going to get fixed. Tyreek said he wants bygones to be bygones. Let's move on and make a good out of this. And Tyreek high road, and obviously Tyreek has not been an angel throughout his entire life, but he talked about wanting to become a sheriff and how I think somebody has changed his life in the police. Tyreek is trying to keep it as positive as possible. Can't happen. Obviously, we're hoping for change. Darius, you're a citizen down there, so if you want to comment on that, definitely do that. But also, Tyreek would then go on to have 130-some yards, multiple touchdowns, and in one of the sickest celebrations in the history. I've seen T.Y. Hilton, his wife gave birth to a baby, and then he scored a touchdown later that night, and he did the cradle. He did the cradle. And then there's been people that have passed away, and they do the kiss to the sky, very topical. For him to be like, yup, we're doing it. And then for teammate, who I don't think Waddle to come over and be like, gotcha. Know what we're doing here. Phenomenal comeback victory as Jason Sanders hits a big one. I think Jake Bailey hit some monster balls as well down there in the special teams department. Tua found his rhythm. Tyreek did his thing. Waddle was wide out, wide ass open a few times. So that day down in Miami, insane, obviously. Yeah. But how do you view the Miami Dolphins right now?
I mean, it was obviously wild start. And usually to that point, the police usually has some type of relationship with the team as well. So I would expect that to be a quick call. But it happened. Figured out, Calais Campbell, he had a big sack early on. Achane made some big plays.
Which it is Achane.
I don't know. Achane. I feel like it's changed. I feel like it's changed back and forth. So I'm going to call him Achane today. Okay. But dynamic. I think they led the league in week 1 with 2 back sacks, over 50%. And obviously Tua still leading the league in passing. A lot of quick game, but hit some deep balls when he needed to Tyreek, to Waddle. Defense kind of started off slow. Brian Thomas Jr. on that Jacksonville side is an absolute superstar in the making. I believe he made some big plays early, had a big flag. But yeah, defense picked it up. That big 4th down stop, That 4th and 1 when Jalen Ramsey ran the entire 53 yards from sideline to sideline and got in on that game tackle, that kind of completely shifted the momentum of this game. And obviously the walk-off field goal, great home win in week 1. Started off with some BS. We figured it out. I'm obviously high on my Miami Dolphins.
Jalen got paid too, so
Yeah.
congratulations.
Oh, yeah, highest paid.
He got paid, and here's Sanders' 51-yarder, 52-yarder, I guess, to win this thing. Murdered. Absolutely slaughtered. Jeff Darlington, who was with Scotty Scheffler, is now obviously a South Florida reporter. Per sources, Tyreek Hill received 2 citations as a result of his traffic stop Sunday. Careless driving and a seatbelt violation, of course. Calais Campbell, hey, you're not going to wear a fucking seatbelt.
No seatbelts, man.
You want to play in this football game or not?
To save you.
Huh?
Brother.
What do you think?
Click it or ticket. Click it or ticket.
No, you get on a motorcycle, you don't got to wear a helmet. You better have glasses on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wear a helmet. You better have glasses on. But in this car, we need 4 points pressure, just like a football.
Get it going.
Yeah. And Tyreek was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Boom.
Get on the ground.
Anyways, let's read an update here. Calais Campbell, who said after the game, police told him they briefly placed him in handcuffs for disobeying a direct order, did not end up receiving a citation. The Miami-Dade Police Department told me this morning that it remains as an internal investigation, so they cannot yet provide the details into what led to the citation for careless driving or why Hill was detained face down on the ground in handcuffs. One of the officers on the scene remains on administrative duty. Thank you, Jeff Darlington, for that update.
Yep.
Quick.
I saw some people on the internet saying detained and handcuffed and all these things, because obviously anytime a situation like this happens, there's always going to be people that are,
Yeah, sure.
well, there's always going to be that. We don't love that is the case, but there's people always going to exist in every single situation that there is. So you have to remember that. So if they could be as transparent as possible, just like the Scotty Scheffler situation, because even people are blaming Scotty Scheffler for that entirety.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the camera angle from across the street, even though there's a bus in the way, and we see the other one, and we hear the other one, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is bullshit. Let's just make sure we have full transparency there, because if Tyreek did do something, we should know. Like, we should also know. If he powered through some cones, almost ran, there is, who knows, but we should obviously know. He would go on to go bananas on the football field. Miami Dolphins, maybe this is the year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is the year for the Miami Dolphins. Maybe this is the year for us as gamblers. Let's go to one half of the Hammer. Dahn. Cowboys AP Tone. Tone, what was the gambling trends of yesterday, and how'd it go for the people versus the sports?
So favorites were 8-7 against the spread. The overs were 8-7 as well against the spread. So pretty even there.
Look at these sports books.
Yeah.
Hey,
They're pretty
hot
close.
bat.
Oh, yeah. They know.
Well, it's kind of.
You don't think so?
Well,
8-7. That's exactly what they're looking for.
That is exactly what they're looking for. But as far as the Panthers were 4-point dogs and they lost by 50.
There's a lot of conversation revolving the Carolina Panthers right now, and I think they even got bad news this morning.
Yes, their star D tackle, Derek Brown, may be out for the year.
Oh, no.
Okay, so
Player.
yeah, they're saying maybe best player on team is now out.
Definitely.
And boy, Baker looked really good down in Tampa.
Yes, he did.
He looked like very, very, very
Really
good.
And he was in Carolina.
He was.
At one point, he was in
Wow.
Carolina, but also the head coach, new offensive guy for the Carolina Panthers, was the reason why Baker did so good. And maybe Canales is going to have to be given time here. Okay, this is previous regime players that they're all probably assuming down there. Carolina Panthers, if you survive a year down there as a head coach or GM with David Tepper at the helm, okay, maybe you get some patience and turn that thing around next 7, 10, 15, 20 years. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But boy, it looked bad. 30-0 at halftime.
Yep.
30-0 at halftime against the New Orleans Saints, who, and I'm sure Carr is going to take this as disrespect. I don't think any of us had high hopes for the New Orleans Saints going into this year, and they should take that as disrespect. We completely understand that, and they probably talk about that, how nobody's talking about them, nobody's talking about 30-0. First half, first game, division opponent.
NFL.
That in the professional football world. Like, you would hope that something would just go a little bit better for the Carolina Panthers. Those fans down there got to be about ready to puke. I saw Luke Combs put out a tweet. Okay, New Year's, same shit. All right. This is gruesome.
Yeah.
What a way to describe it.
It can get ugly quick in that stadium down in New Orleans. Like, I've been a part of a blowout down there. I think it can get ugly real quick. Derek Carr, for the whole theme of kind of the first week, offenses didn't look great. Derek Carr was cooking early.
Okay, let's talk about some defenses that played well. 22 interceptions thus far in this first NFL Week 1. That's obviously Thursday's game, Friday's game, and full NFL slate. And there's one game left this evening. I guess last year's average per weekend was about 23 picks. The most picks in one weekend that we found. Now, we were scrolling through on a computer with an eye, so we might have missed a stat somewhere. Shout out to NFL Pro from NFL Plus Premium. 46 picks happened in one weekend in 2006.
A lot.
So I don't know.
What happened?
I don't know what happened there. 46, but so far 22 of them, which is right on par seemingly with last year, took place. Debo, what does that tell you? This early, is that a good thing, bad thing? What are your thoughts on DBs, and what pick should we be looking at a little bit closer?
Man, when Chuck was here on Thursday, he said the defenses would probably be a little ahead coming out in front. And at the beginning of the season, offenses kind of take time to get going, especially with the lack of preseason play. Not sure how training camps and the practices are going as well, but we can get to a couple of my favorite picks from the weekend. Harrison Smith. You see him down there up top. He's in the cover 2, coming off the number 2, undercutting that receiver. Beautiful. He's leading. He's the active leader right now in the NFL with 35 interceptions. Friend of the program, undercutting. Throwing interceptions in the end zone. They are
lot of red zone turnovers.
Yeah.
A lot of red zone turnovers. Even last night with Stafford throwing one.
Yeah, and that's the next one. Kirby Joseph.
Okay.
Four picks in his first 2 years, starting the season off right, getting the one here with the double buzz. You can't really see it from this angle, but both safeties just kind of sitting there being robbers. I don't know if Stafford didn't see him. Maybe the blue on blue in the end zone.
I can't even see it.
It's definitely a thing.
I didn't see him.
Because he threw it right to him. And speaking of red zone turnovers, I don't think the Rams had one last season. I believe I heard on the call last night. So this was obviously a big play with it being a close game going into overtime. So shout out to Kirby Joseph. Hopefully that Detroit Lions secondary can kind of turn it around. There's 2 big questions coming in this year. Who's going to be the number 2 receiver? You spoke about Jameson Williams early. He should be dynamic. Just got to stay healthy. We know St. Brown is going to pick it up and be that guy. And then defensively, can they just not give up 350 yards every week and give that offense a chance to win ball games? But Detroit Lions and Kirby Joseph, and then obviously Harrison Smith out there in Minnesota, 2 of my favorite interceptions from the weekend.
22 picks. These DBs are greedy, aren't they? Speaking about being Jameson Williams, if he can stay healthy, I don't know if you saw Anthony Richardson's going to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Anthony Richardson, Indianapolis Colts quarterback, is going to stay healthy. Took a couple massive hits. Yes, he has the longest touchdown pass, or third longest touchdown pass in the history of stats, seemingly, in the air. 63 and a half yards, this ball, as he's fading away with people in his face, drops in a bucket to Alec Pierce, who had a massive day. Congrats to Alec Pierce doing his thing. But Anthony Richardson took some massive, this is phenomenal. Played 4 games last year. So this is technically still rookie campaign for Anthony Richardson because he got hurt in the shoulder. He got dumped, no penalty. Should have been for sure.
Crazy.
15 yards would change the entire game. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about it.
Too big for penalty.
But he got dumped on his head. Helmet comes flying off. And it's like last year, that's potentially something because of how unlucky he seemingly was with injury, where that would have taken him off the field somehow. Something would have happened. He would have got dinged somehow. This year, yesterday, he took like 4 or 5 shots, big shots, and got right back up. I think I am incredibly excited about the Anthony Richardson-led Colts. I think the defense played well when they had to, but and that's a dart right there. The Houston Texans is good.
Whoa.
The Houston Texans are really good. The Houston Texans added 2 big pieces to the offense this offseason, and C.J. Stroud slipped and falling on a coconut husk, which is a brand new ground that has been put onto the field. It used to be that rubber, but now it's coconut husk, I do believe. There's a lot of slipping and sliding. I think it is good for the environment. Not 100% sure if everybody loves it that was on the field. I think there was a lot of slipping and sliding, and C.J. Stroud can do what he just did. But they signed Stephon Diggs. They bring him in. He has 2 touchdowns. Only like 33 yards, but he has 2 touchdowns. And obviously, whenever they need it, they got it. And he did the same dance twice on both of his touchdowns. In his second one, it was a little out route where I believe the safety was in charge of covering him somehow.
Yeah, can't have that matchup. You cannot have cross on Diggs down in the tight red area.
Yeah, so obviously Stephon Diggs gets brought to the Houston Texans, and you think to yourself, if you're in the AFC South, oh, great, C.J. Stroud, who didn't throw a pick for 11 games in his rookie campaign, now gets another weapon. And then also, they bring in Mixon from the Bengals. You remember Mixon? He's the running back that gets all the yards for the Cincinnati Bengals, if you're watching the pass. Yeah, he went for like 160.
Ran so hard.
Jeez.
160? I think he won.
They could not run last year either. So if they could run now,
Yeah, and we were there watching it, and the Loud House showed up. The Loud House showed up. But you watch this Houston Texans team, and Mixon and Diggs obviously score the touchdowns. Fourth quarter, Colts get it to within 2. There's like a 3rd and 7. That is the loudest I've heard a stadium. 3rd and 11, I'm sorry. That is the loudest I've heard that stadium. Maybe since like Peyton Manning came back and played.
Oh, yeah.
Against Andrew Luck. Like it was loud.
Legit.
It was so loud. In this, CJ Stroud drops back, dart, sideline. Only my guy. First down.
So good.
First, it was like where we were standing. I was right behind him, like literally. So I see him look that way, and I'm like, no fucking way is this guy going to throw this ball. And then it's perfectly caught, obviously, on the sideline. This was the game. As soon as he makes that, that's game over, pretty much. That is it. We only have 2 timeouts, but still, even if they are able to run it down, we punt it deep. We're in a tough spot.
Yeah.
But that was a must-have. And we talk about with these quarterbacks. At some point, they're going to have to hit a 3rd and 7. At some point, they're going to have to hit a 3rd and 11. You can run the ball as much as you want. But at some point in a meaningful game, they're going to have to hit a massive throw that is in a bucket. And there it was, week 1 in the Loud House. C.J. Stroud drops it. They beat the Colts again. But the Colts are going to be good this year.
Yeah.
That's what I took away from
They
this.
cover.
Colts are going to be, you're damn right they did.
Great cover.
They're undefeated.
Hey.
Tyrese Halliburton have a good time. It's a good song.
Yeah.
Great song.
Place was rocking. Tyrese didn't think he was going to be on the Jumbotron for as long as he did, so he would do the dance, and he look at Jumbotron, realize he's still on. Okay, and we're still dancing.
Good juice.
And
Good
we're still
juice.
dancing.
2 in a row. End of last year, first. So is it officially the Stroud House or?
No.
I mean,
Naturally.
the
It was
argument
loud.
has to be made. It was loud, but Stroud did well while it was loud. So is it the Stroud Loud House?
It's the Loud House.
It was impressively loud.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, congrats to the Texans, though. And the Texans is good. Texans is good.
We're in a good spot, though. We're in a good spot. And to your point, the throws, I loved it from Anthony Richardson. You can kind of tell he kind of heard some of the noise about, hey, maybe this guy's soft. Maybe he looks like Hercules.
Gets
plays
hurt a
like
lot.
Jane. I heard, gets up slow. He was popping up. That touchdown run, it's probably him, Josh Allen, maybe Jalen Hurts as a quarterback that can make that type of run, carrying guys into the end zone. So I loved what I saw from here. Obviously, Alec Pierce, big plays. We needed him to show up. A.D. Mitchell could have had 220 yards if he got hit on a few, but that's football, especially week 1. But I am still excited about where the Colts are going this year. Obviously, got to figure out how to beat C.J. Stroud and these damn Houston Texans.
I don't know how many people are going to. He's so good.
He's good.
He is so good. And obviously, Joe Mixon being ahead there is only going to make C.J. Stroud even better. Let's go down to Atlanta. Mike Tomlin said, or T.J. Watt said, felt like a home game. The Atlanta Falcons were on a silent count. Well, the Atlanta Falcons are already in a situation that everybody brought up seemingly as soon as draft night happened. Whenever you draft Michael Penix at number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons after paying a quarterback $180 million with $130 guaranteed or whatever it was, and they're both entering the team for the first time. So both of them have the same exact starting point of winning over the fans, winning over the locker room, winning over the building. One, you're investing $180 million in. The other, a top 10 pick. It's like both of them have the right to be the starter. Top 10 pick, starter, makes sense. $180 million, starter, makes a lot of sense. So both of them have a campaign. So whenever Kirk potentially looks like the Achilles isn't 100% healed and he's missing some things, and TJ Watt is going absolutely bonkers every single other down seemingly, and that Pittsburgh Steelers defense eats, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are able to not score a touchdown and win a game. They're first in the AFC North. They're also the only team in the AFC North that didn't score a touchdown. So only team that won. Congrats to the Steelers. But we talked about that dude right there whenever the offensive questions were being had this entire offseason. And I can't wait to hear Tone's thoughts on Artie Smith and Justin Fields and how that whole thing came together here in a couple seconds. But we said this guy might just have to score a touchdown. This dude might score a touchdown every week. He was this close, literally like 3 different times to being able to get into the paint. And then obviously there's the game winner. He checked with the ref to make sure there wasn't a penalty because there seemingly was every single time. Before that, it's like this Steelers team, exactly what everybody said. If they don't turn the ball over, the defense is going to put them in positions to win. The only issue is you lose your punter on a nasty. That was gruesome. But your kicker goes 6 for 6, hits 3 50-plus yarders, and then punts a 43-yard ball with no return in there. Your special teams are sound. Going to have to find a punter. Offense is obviously going to be good, it seems like, under Artie. And the defense is always good. Hold the phone. Or the Pittsburgh Steelers in a good spot, Tone Diggs.
The defense was, we'll just start there, was unbelievable. Cam Hayward was the immovable object, and TJ was the unstoppable force. Both of them were awesome. And then everyone that we added, like Patrick Queen was just – he just was there where he was supposed to be and, like, made all the tackles that he was supposed to make. That was awesome. And then Deshaun Elliott had a pick who we brought in. Dante Jackson had a pick who we brought in. Like, that, the defense was just unbelievable in all aspects. But then, like, on offense, for what Artie had to deal with this week as far as the quarterback change potentially and the offensive lineman being out and everything, I thought he called just the perfect game. I went through and I went back, and I think it was like 27 dropbacks, and 15 of them were either play action or some sort of boot with Justin Fields. Like, he didn't ask Justin Fields to do stuff that he knew Justin Fields couldn't do. Like, that's
a dart right there.
Yeah. Great ball.
So after 1 week, his deep balls, Justin Fields can throw the deep ball. So, like, if we could run the ball and if Justin Fields can work off of play action and boot and throw deep balls, like, I love what Artie did yesterday. They didn't turn the ball over. He didn't even give Justin a chance to turn the ball over. And GP is a legitimate number one wide receiver. Things are definitely up as far as I'm concerned as the Steelers after week 1.
George Pickens back in Georgia making plays. Had to be fun for that entire team to walk out of there with a dub. And Justin Fields has got to be feeling great. Joining us now is a man who might have some more questions on how long Justin Fields will be playing and what's the conversation happening in Pittsburgh. Senior NFL insider for ESPN, Michigan man. Gotta have Zingerman's.
Oh, man.
Gotta have Zingerman's. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Schefter.
It was good, Pat, right? It was good?
Yeah, I don't know which sandwich I got because the fine folks at Game Day behind the scenes got the bag for me on the way out of town. I think it was a 27 maybe, but they had this spicy mustard on this turkey and on this ham and then like little grilled cheese toasting on the bread outside.
Oh, man.
Not the best sandwich I've ever had, but very, 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 very good. That's why as I was eating, I took a picture. I sent it to you. I said, very good sandwich here. This is not I'm from a sandwich town.
Well, so what is the best sandwich you've ever had?
Rudy Subs. Whole Italian hot, lettuce, onion, mayo. Thanks. I'll take a side of fries with the cheese. And I'm going to get this Turner's jug as well. And I'm going to sit down. And in 15 minutes, Greg and the fine folks at Rudy Subs are going to deliver me this piping hot Italian sub that's oozing with greatness. And the bread is so much better than any other place that has bread. It's a part of the sandwich. That's the dream. And then you go mayonnaise.
Where is Rudy Subs? Where is Rudy Subs?
So I'm from a sandwich town, Pittsburgh. Like that, you know. So like whenever you're like, you need to go get a sandwich at this place, I'm like, I don't know if Ann Arbor's the place I'm thinking, I need to go get a sandwich from. Pittsburgh is sandwich place. Zingerman's held its A. That was a good sandwich.
Okay.
That was didn't try to do too much shit.
Sure.
I like that.
Like some of these
sandwiches,
some of these sandwiches places do too much shit. Like that ain't a sandwich. Sandwich is like supposed to be quick eating. We're in and out of here.
Normal.
Don't need all the shit.
Publix up.
Yep.
Bingo. Zingerman's was
Top
great.
tier.
I appreciate the recommendation. I think everybody else should go. I guess it's hard to get in though, right? Long lines?
Very, very hard to get in. And I got another place for you. You know what place I love? In your neck of the woods. Shapiro's.
Oh, yeah, Shapiro's Deli is very good. It's down here in
Yep.
downtown Indianapolis. Got good sandwiches.
That's
Also
really
in the
good.
mall.
They do, and in the airport.
Yeah, okay. Representing. Shapiro's got great sandwiches. Let's talk about some play. I'm not going to talk about Michigan. Ugh.
Sucks to be you, Chef D.
Hey, won an Natty. You're a national champion.
That's right.
You're a national champion. They'll figure it out there. They'll figure it out. Texas might be the team.
Maybe not this year.
Texas might be the team.
They'll figure it out down the road when they get a quarterback.
Texas looked like a champion. I'll just to say that. Michigan's got work to do. They'll get better over time. I have confidence in what they're going to do, but Texas looked like the real deal.
A lot of moxie on that sideline, too. I got a chance to watch the first half from the Texas sideline. Matthew McConaughey, obviously, we've all seen him do his thing. And, he's summoning the power of the sun through his body to the boys as they're kicking. But, I met the kicker down there, Auburn, with the great hair. That sweet kid, good dude, love him. Then you see, every play, the entire sideline's active. Every first down, sideline's active.
Love that.
Every turner ball. Look at this. Everybody on the fucking team
jumping
is very active the entire sideline. It was that's an energy that radiates, especially whenever you're on the road in the big house. And, you talk to the Michigan people, they're like, we're going to try to make this game physical. And then we talked to Sark on game day, and he's like, yeah, we're going to try to make this game physical. It's like, wait a minute. wait a minute. And it was an honor, obviously, to get a chance to experience Ann Arbor with Michael Phelps and his friends. That place is beautiful. Zingerman's was great, but I do fear that we're probably not getting back up there this year.
Yeah.
man.
Not this year.
Yeah,
Not this year.
I don't think so. All right, let's move to the NFL. Russell Wilson injury, that kind of comes out of nowhere. Justin Fields gets the start. They win, obviously don't score a touchdown, but they get a win, and everybody in Pittsburgh's happy. How'd that come about? That was lingering still from the preseason, and how long is this going to linger for, you think, for Russell Wilson?
Well, congratulations to Tone on the big win. But what I would say there is that, they went out there yesterday, and, I think Russell really was pushing to play. And I think the medical staff was being a lot more guarded because he obviously aggravated it last week. And I think the telltale sign probably came in pregame warm-ups. They said they were going to take it up to then to make a decision. But you look around him, he's out on the field by himself. There's not a doctor around him. Like, usually when there's a medical decision to be made that day, the guy's surrounded by doctors. In this particular case, no doctors around him. That was probably a telltale sign that it was going to be Justin Fields. And Justin came on and played well. Now, again, I still think that, you ride this through. And when Russell's healthy, I think he's going to come back and get a chance to be the starting guy again. But they played well yesterday. They did exactly what they should have. They didn't score a touchdown, but they played good defense. They ran the ball. They were opportunistic, and T.J. Watt was a man wrecker. So now what's interesting is they play Denver this week. Russell's going to want to be out there.
He's a man wrecker. Look at you. Oh, look, he's bobbing a little bit. My daughter, Mackenzie, she's a good dancer, so this is not a shot. That is her move right there, what Shefty was just doing. And then she'll do her hands up like this. And I'm very...
I would expect that Mackenzie's moves would be superior to the ones that I have, Pat.
I think you two are a fair fight right now, but I think she's about a month away from passing you. Hope Russell gets healthy, and that came out of nowhere for Steelers fans, but obviously they continue to move. Let's go to Jordan Love now. Obviously, that's on Friday, and we heard all the reports, and it's 5 seconds left in the game. That's a bummer. Obviously, it's a bummer. 4 to 6 weeks is the projections here with the sprained MCL, or is this still the information we have on this particular Overreaction Monday?
I think it's going to be less. I think it's going to be closer to 3 or 4 weeks, and it depends on how long it's going to take him here. They'll see how he recovers, but I think the worst case was averted. Like, it could have been bad. You see him go down. Jalen Carter wraps up his leg on the left side, you see, and he goes down, and it was a bad look, but the test showed sprained MCL. That's probably 3 or 4 weeks. He's going to push to come back. If you look at the schedule, I think in 3 or 4 weeks, they play the Vikings at home. And again, we'll see how he recovers here, but that would be, I would think, a logical timeline and a logical spot for him to try to come back. And they're in an interesting situation here now because they traded for Malik Willis during the summer. They had Sean Clifford. Sean Clifford didn't play particularly well during the preseason. They cut him. They signed him back to the practice squad. They traded for Malik Willis. They got those two guys, and I think that's going to be the short-term plan here is to lean on those guys. I don't know how they're going to decide to do this yet. Maybe you play a combination of both of some sorts. Who knows?
But great.
That's good. That's good.
Well, they have different skill sets. So, I don't know what they're going to do with that, but they're going to be without Jordan Love, I would say, multiple weeks. If I had to guess, it'll be 3 to 4 weeks.
Shefty, I'm very lucky to be around a Packers owner every single day, also Iowa Hawkeye fan. And earlier today, he said they need to sign Ryan Tannehill stat. They need to sign him yesterday. Is that even a possibility, you think, in the Green Bay Packers' eyes, or are they sticking with who they got?
Well, they always could decide to go to him. My understanding is I don't believe they reached out to him. And not only that, but I think Ryan Tannehill wants a situation where he could go in for a season and be their guy for the season. This is a few weeks we're talking about. And to get Ryan Tannehill to come in, he's going to have to want to do it. He's going to have to be paid to do it. He's made a lot of money. It's going to have to be the right situation.
Got it.
If Jordan Love were out for the year, different deal. Fortunately for everybody, he's not.
Well, Ryan Tannehill has earned this position, I guess, to kind of pick and choose. I assume there's going to be a team that's going to end up in a situation where they bring him in. Think about Joe Flacco last year.
Yeah.
Think about Joe Flacco last year and the run that he had with the Cleveland Browns. Let's talk about another injury that happened late last night. Go ahead, D-Bud.
Yeah, Puka Nacua, obviously coming off a record-breaking rookie year, left the game at halftime last night, didn't return. Any status update with him?
Same knee. They were going to be testing it this afternoon. I don't know what it's going to show, but obviously there seems like there was some carryover for the summer. He goes out early on in camp. They bring him back. They said he's going to be ready. He goes out last night, tries to come back, ruled out immediately. The texts I got back last night were testing this afternoon. Didn't know. And obviously they got back late last night after that game. I would imagine we'd be getting an update here on Puka fairly soon.
Okay, let's go to Ty Schmidt. Has a question for you, Shefty.
Yeah, Shefty, with everything that happened this offseason and with Jamar eventually just playing yesterday without a contract, are the Bengals going to table that whole deal, or are they still actively working to get something done with him?
It's a great question, and I wish I had the answer, and I don't, because I don't know how this is going to go. My understanding is they were trying to get it done by then. That was the plan. If they couldn't get it done, it was going to be put aside. But look, there's enough money, and I don't think that they were that far apart that you say, okay, well, we didn't get it done by opening day. We're not doing it now. Like, they want to re-sign the guy, and he wants to get paid. So I don't know why you would just say it's done, it's not happening. But clearly he didn't feel comfortable enough with the deal to take it before opening day. I think the value of the deal is there in terms of the numbers. I think the structure and how the money is laid out is a different issue, and I think there's disagreements there. And it's up to those two sides to figure it out and get it right. Look, you know you're going to re-sign the guy. It's not like he's not going to re-sign in Cincinnati. And it's not like the price on Jamar Chase is going down. So to me, the right thing is figure out a way to get it done, keep him in that place, and see if you can figure out a way that both sides are happy, both sides give in a little bit. But, Jamar has a certain idea of what he wants, and the Bengals structure contracts a certain way. Two sides right now have not agreed in that area.
Interesting to see if they're able to, let's go shake their hands. Yeah. Meet in the middle. I hope they are able to do that so everybody's happy. He also had food poisoning, right? He said on Saturday.
Yeah.
He had food poisoning. He missed training camp, had food poisoning. Deal was not done by kickoff time. Hopefully they're able to figure it out. Did you just get any information there? I saw you look over at your phone. Was there anything sweet happening?
Daniel Jones is going to keep on as the Giants' starting quarterback in week 2, which, again, the fact that this is even an issue.
Breaking.
Like, we're already saying that Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback. Like, we have to say this now? Like, okay, that right there is a telltale sign that this isn't going away anytime soon. Like, if you were to affirm that your guy is the quarterback in week 2, we haven't heard the last of this one yet.
Yeah, I would say. In those uniforms, the way they looked and the way they were received, I think if team wins, maybe they're viewed in a much different fashion. For them to go lay the egg that they did and for it to be the way it was, certainly not putting those uniforms in good regards. We are less than 24 hours removed.
Home opener.
The entire offseason, Hard Knocks was, we're going to find out if we got a $40 million quarterback or not. And they're like, we fucking found out. We don't, okay? We don't. Let's call this a loss, and let's move along. But Daniel Jones can still turn it around.
Yeah.
He can certainly turn around. Him and Daboll can get on the same page. Daboll's calling plays again. Malik Neighbor saying all the right things, right? We didn't know how that was going to go.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you,
for now.
I don't know what's going on back there.
I just can't even believe, again, I'm not surprised by it. Okay, Daniel Jones is going to be the Giants quarterback in week 2. Okay. So that tells me that if they don't win again, son, it's going to be a question again. It's going to be a question every time they don't win, every time they don't play well, every time he struggles. And I would just say that at some point in time, I don't think this is a stretch to say based on that if we're answering this question now.
What was that? Well, actually, we saw another play. We can't
Somebody else confirmed me that Daniel Jones is staying on as the quarterback.
Okay, all right, good. So everybody wants you to know, hey, listen, let the world know. Daniel Jones is still our starter. Speaking of quarterbacks that are paid a lot of money, potentially not starting in the future, AP Tone has a question for you, Shefty.
Yeah, Shefty, I don't know if they're going to have to address this or not in Cleveland, but Deshaun Watson, another performance where he didn't look great. Now is with Jameis as the backup there. Is there going to be any questions for his job, or does that contract kind of protect him this year?
Well, there's a lot of guaranteed money there. And I think Dan Orlovsky tweeted out at some point yesterday. I heard about this on Get Up this morning. They were talking about the fact that he mentioned the idea that Jameis was there. They're going to have to start thinking about that. Deshaun he's not recaptured the form that he's had. He's been through a lot of injuries here, and they paid him a lot of money. There's a lot of pressure. He's got to play better than that. I think they would agree with that. He would agree with that. Now, what do they do about that? You got a viable backup, a guy who started in this league and has played well in Jameis. I think if you make that move, boy, oh boy, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. I just think it opens up a whole can of worms.
And also Zimmer with that defense, out the gates, now you have to perform better. Obviously, you're getting paid now the second highest contract in the history of the NFL, and we'll talk about that on the other side. D-Bud has a question for you about.
And also, I also say this: Deshaun didn't play at all in the preseason. They wanted to get him out there. He was never fully comfortable. There are a lot of players, teams that start slow. That's one of the byproducts of these teams not playing their players during the preseason at all. They try to rest them to make sure they're ready, but inevitably when that happens, there's a lot of rust. If you look at the numbers of touchdown throws, they've dropped every year the last few years. It keeps going down.
Yeah.
And so you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, we're not going to expose our guys in the preseason and then expect that in week one, this guy's going to hit the ground running. That's not going to happen. Let's judge Deshaun Watson once he's feeling better, once he gets to a rhythm. If he's struggling, then these questions aren't going away. We know that.
Yeah, for sure, especially with the amount of money he's getting paid. And I said the other day on game day that, like, Clemson, I'm not that out on because I think Georgia's going to do that to a lot of people. And then Clemson people are like, well, we used to be that. That's So, like, that. Okay, I get what you're saying. Makes sense. Like, yeah, Dallas Cowboys defense is probably going to make a lot of people's life hell, but, like, we also paid you $230 million to be, like, they should be worried about you. Yeah. And, like, our defense is also very good. So for them to lose, I think the way they did on that elf, Brownie. In Cleveland in front of the dog pound, obviously not a good start. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys with a great start. Obviously right back in the conversation of, is this the year for the Dallas Cowboys? Go ahead, D-Bud.
Yeah, you had a seemingly crazy morning yesterday, Chef, and obviously a big part of that was Dak getting paid. Obviously a bunch of storylines all offseason long. CeeDee Lamb, Dak, Mike McCarthy, is he next? And then what went into Dak getting this record-breaking deal right before kickoff?
Well, we've seen that Dallas doesn't exactly rush to get these things done. They get CeeDee Lamb done with basically 10 days to go until the start of the season, and then they get Dak done a few hours before the start of the season. And the two sides were talking. And there really was one of those artificial deadlines that was in place that once the season began, they were going to table it, and Dak didn't want to do a deal. And so you were right up against that. And the numbers get to a certain point where you're talking about $240 million, the first $60 million year player. Like, what are we waiting for? Like, and not only that, you're in Texas. It's a no-tax state. Like, get the deal done.
Texas.
Right? And they wanted to keep him. And he wanted to be there, so they were able to figure it out. Now, Mike McCarthy is interesting because he's in the last year of his deal. And Dak is a big Mike McCarthy supporter. And I always thought that one of the elements here that would slow down talks for Dak was if you're giving up the next 5 years of your career, roughly, you want to be with somebody that you really feel strongly about, that you have a conviction on. And if you're re-signing with Dallas, you don't really know who's going to be the guy because Mike McCarthy and the rest of the coaching staff is in the last year. So I think, again, they're going to judge Mike over the course of the season, but I think that this bodes well for Mike. Dak is a big Mike McCarthy supporter. Big. They've won 36 games, 37 now, the past 3 years in one game. I know they struggled in the playoffs, but this team has been a good team, and they haven't gotten it done when it's mattered, and it's time to try to go do that. But they've played well when it has been the regular season and racked up pretty good numbers and performances. And I think if you ask Dak, I would think if Dak were being 100% truthful, he would say he absolutely wants Mike McCarthy back as his head coach.
Him being able to get $1 million more than the biggest guarantee in the history of the NFL and then get $60 million re-signing with his team. Imagine what that free agency market would have looked like for him. Man. Could you imagine? He got that, what we thought was going to be in free agency, just with an extension before the season starts. Let's say he has a great year this year. Him and McCarthy both. They just have a good year. And then they do have a little bit of success in the playoffs. I'm not going to get crazy and say they win the Super Bowl, but let's say they do that. That market in the free they're at 61 already. Think about what it will. Oh, my. Good for Dak. Congrats, Dak. You've earned it.
Oh, yeah, Dak.
I love how he played it, too. How he handled it privately, said all the right things, even made some. I don't pay attention to anything Jerry says.
In public. I mean, what are we talking about? I haven't done that for you. What is it? What's the news?
I'm not going to tell you.
Come on.
Daniel Jones update.
Oh, Jesus. All right, so they really want to let people know. The guy's starting.
We're not cutting him.
Okay, you watch Hard Knocks in the offseason, okay? We got rid of everybody for this guy. Okay, not just one bad week, even though it's been a few years. and it's a lot of money. It's a big part of our salary cap.
Yeah.
Did you see what Russell Wilson?
And the good thing is, at least he's playing in a calm media market where the fans take these things in stride. That's the good thing.
Yeah, certainly. All right, last question here about a big topic that obviously happened on draft night and now is showing up less than 24 hours removed from the first game. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Shefty, how many weeks do we have till the Falcons kind of go to Penix? Because if this continues to go on with Kirk Cousins, and obviously the Steelers have a very, very good defense, but with the Falcons taking Penix in the top 10 and people, not having any real loyalty to Kirk Cousins in Atlanta because this is his first year, how long do you expect this to go if Atlanta continues to not play well? Do you think Penix will maybe get a start here early on versus later in the season?
Well, I think there is loyalty to Kirk Cousins, and I think there's $100 million in guaranteed money that they gave to Kirk Cousins. And again, it's the same thing with Deshaun Watson and some of these other quarterbacks who struggled. Kirk Cousins, I don't believe, played in the preseason. There's going to be rust when he comes out there. He was under tremendous pressure all afternoon, and I think Kirk Cousins is going to be the guy there this season, and he's going to get better and better and better and play well. I think that the Michael Penix talk will be tabled, and they're not going to go in that direction anytime soon. By the way, if they were, that would mean that Kirk Cousins would be an abject disaster, and that would mean that they squandered $100 million.
It's Atlanta football,
and I just think that I think Kirk Cousins is going to be the quarterback this season. Could they go to Penix at some point later in the year if it's not going well? Possibly. But I think it's Kirk Cousins' job, and he's going to be riding it through. David Njoku, week to week, tight ankle injury.
Ooh, okay. All right. That's a big deal, obviously, for an offense that has been. Go ahead, Tone.
While we're on what's going on with T. Higgins? Because he was doubtful late last week, and then just didn't play.
Yeah. Hamstring injury. He got a hamstring injury, and we'll see how the week plays out, but I'll be surprised if he plays this week against the Chiefs.
Anything tonight? Okay, that's a big deal. Sorry about that. T. Higgins surprised. Schefter would be surprised if he plays against the Chiefs. How about tonight? Niners and Jets. Anything we know? Hassan Reddick still holding out. Brandon Ayuk, full go here? Full go?
Yeah, a few things that are really interesting here, okay? Last week was the first time that Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and Trent Williams were all around the same practice field all at once. And even then, they were not full go because then they had to hold back on McCaffrey. Now, last week, Kyle Shanahan mentioned McCaffrey's Achilles. And it was the first time I think reporters had heard the word Achilles because they were talking about the calf. But it's been an Achilles and a calf that's bothered him since week 17 in Washington last year. So this is something that's kind of gone on and on. And the Brandon Ayuk, he looked good at training camp this week. He's going to play tonight. They're going to have him out there. It may not be the regular workload, but he looked good and strong in practice last week. And obviously there was a whole host of things that went on with him during the course of the summer. Everybody knows the history, the talks they had with the Steelers, the talks they had with Brandon Ayuk.
Close? 11th hour, I heard. Yeah. Jay Glaze said 11th hour. He was a Pittsburgh Steeler. Is this close?
Well, here's another one. Do you know that Brandon Ayuk got the 5-day letter in the middle of August that he had to practice or he wouldn't be able to play this year?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
yeah,
so
he
what's
did.
that? What's that mean? I don't think I know what you're talking about.
Never heard of that.
You get a 5-day letter. It means you better get back to practice, or the team has the right to place you on the list, and you lose the year. That happened too.
Damn.
Jeez. All right, so there's a little push come shove there.
Yeah.
Hey, deadlines cause agreements. We are on a deadline right now. We need you. He was happy though at the press conference after the deal. He said, "I might have made it a little bit more difficult."
Why he said that?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They got a deal done. They're full strength. Jets are full strength because we've never seen them with Hassan Reddick. Maybe he shows up.
Mm-hmm.
What if he has 3 sacks tonight?
That'd be awesome.
He's not showing until he's out. And by the way,
What if he does?
What if he does?
Hold on.
Play along.
There's the math, right? Like for not playing tonight, he's not going to make about $800,000. He's already got over $5 million in fines.
Jeez.
I mean, it's this one is confounding. The whole thing from both sides. Like,
what a word. Confounding?
Confounding, Pat. Confounding.
That makes sense after walking around Ann Arbor. How
That might be Mackenzie's first word. Confounding.
I doubt it. I mean, she's a big hi. She's saying hi to everybody. Confounding.
Not a Michigan.
Maybe she needs Uncle Shefty to teach her some more words. I appreciate the hell out of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Michigan man, senior insider. We'll see him on Monday Night Countdown. Adam Schefter.
Hey.
All right. I was just told 96,000 concurrents currently on YouTube.
Hilarious.
Oh, wow.
No big deal.
That's sweet.
What are you doing?
We're back.
I guess football season's all the way back.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick will be joining us in about 9 minutes or so. I can't wait to hear his thoughts on week one. We got to talk about the kickoff. We got some magic to take place. We got J.K. Dobbins, who ran the ball right down the Raiders' throat in the second half. 10 touches in the second half for 135 yards tuds. Won the game.
Yeah.
For the Chargers. Got the game ball immediately after the game. Harbaugh season's here. Herbert season's here. It's a wonderful time to be alive. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change your life. Take three. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the commissioner of the NFL. Don't listen to them. No. Roger, good. Shut your mouth. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. You're our commissioner. Don't worry about these bums out there. From us to you, we'd like to give you a gift that we know you're a big fan of. Ladies and gentlemen, some peanut M&Ms for our commissioner.
This is why we're on set?
Yep. You can take these with you. You can take them home.
I might just I got a gift for you. What? Oh. You ready?
Yeah, I like that.
With the 222nd pick in the 2009 NFL Draft.
Oh, yeah.
The Indianapolis Colts select Pat McAfee. Hunter, West Virginia.
Hell yeah!
Come on there, baby.
Good pick!
Thank you, Raj. I'll pick him up. Thank you, Raj. I'm not going to pick you up because you got that
That's
back.
all right.
Yeah.
I got it. There's your card, baby. That's real.
That's awesome.
I've been keeping that for, 15 years?
You had it in your back pocket this whole time. This is cool. Thank you for this. So whenever we say that you have to answer to 31 billionaires, how accurate is that?
32. Well, you're not counting Green Bay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Doesn't count.
Big Pop. There's a Green Bay Packers.
I didn't know he did.
Yeah, no, that was.
I don't actually think that way. I actually think I answer to them. I think I answer to the media partners. I think I answer the players. I think I answer the owners too. The idea for me is to try to keep everyone happy. I always say that my biggest job is not to piss off more than 24 owners in a given day.
How did you know the draft would be awesome if you traveled it, and did you see this happening?
I'd be kidding you if I thought it was going to be as big as it is. We felt like we could be bigger than we were in Radio City. But what happened is Radio City actually put a holiday show in and said, you can't have the draft until June. And that's when we said, we're out of here.
So they
And
kicked you out.
That's when we went on the road.
Well, Taylor Swift, we know.
Well, that's a different kind of influence.
How about, hey, listen, a lot of jokes from
They're booing Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you can't boo.
They're idiots.
Yeah, you're going to be a part of an album.
Wow.
Do it. Get a little louder. She is going to cook you. A lot of the internet was saying Roger Goodell was sitting at home through the moon about this.
Well, they thought it was part of the script.
Yes, then he went on to it.
There it
is. Is there a thought of adding another one, maybe adding another bye week, or are we good at 17 right now?
Well, I think we're good at 17 now, but listen, we're looking at how we continue. I'm not a fan of the preseason. I don't think we need preseason.
Waste of time, right? And energy.
I don't buy it, and I don't think these guys like it either.
Well, that's spend full price for the tickets for those games.
No, they're actually discounted now. So
Thank you for doing that.
I'd rather replace a preseason game with a regular season any day. That's just picking quality, right? If we got to 18-2, that's not an unreasonable thing. The other thing it does, which I thought you were going to, is that ends up on President's Day weekend, which is a 3-day weekend, which makes a Sunday night, and then you have Monday off. So that's
wow.
Now we're cooking.
See,
now we're cooking.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
Why?
let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for it.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pick!
Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this glorious Overreaction Monday, September 9th, 2024. Hour 2 of the program starts now. Football has shown up in a massive way for us, and I know those of you that don't watch football live a much more serious life, and you're changing the world. But let me tell you about my world. On Thursday night, there was an NFL kickoff game that had last year's MVP taking on the Super Bowl MVP in a I mean, they ended up at the U.S. Open with Taylor Swift.
They did.
But a voyage to maybe a third straight Super Bowl. And then on Friday night, we got the Packers and the Eagles in Brazil. And Saquon Barkley in a brand new home just takes over the entire game. And holy hell, did we just lose one of the best quarterbacks in the league in the first game? Ooh. We did not. That's good news. Saturday, full college football slate, electrifying. Yep. There were some blowouts. There certainly were some of those. But there were some incredible games and stories developing. And then a full NFL Sunday slate. And then tonight, Monday Night Football, Joe and Troy, Niners, Jets, Aaron Rodgers taking on a loaded and stacked San Francisco 49ers defense that has everybody playing, and Aaron's back for the first time since tearing his Achilles 4 plays into a season that was supposed to lead the New York Jets back into prominence, and that entire fan base was going to be hoisting the world title over everybody's heads. Instead, it ended abruptly, sadly,
very
quickly, and they stunk again.
Yeah.
But now this year it could all be different, and football is taking away any thought of anything outside of this particular sports world. Toxic Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer, Dahn. Cowboys AP Tone is here. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
And 9-year NFL vet, a man with a massive brain. Everything DB, good D, bad D host, Darius J. Butler.
Good
to see you, D. Butch. Sweet fit.
Great fit.
Yeah, comfy, nice and comfy.
What the hell's going on down in South Florida? I thought it was just Louisville that
Hey,
literally.
want to know. That's all that matters.
Yeah, but I thought number one player in the world.
That's right.
Voted. Number one golfer in the world. Earned.
Yeah.
Arrested. Outside of events. That can't happen. What the hell's going on in South Florida? I thought you guys were a football town.
Me too.
I thought you guys were a football town.
Hey, touchdown and 5 under. If I got arrested before the show, I'd have the best show of my life.
Well, that's what
Something to think about.
That's what Tyreek Hill did.
Local PD.
What's that? Get Anthony
Tap
Richardson.
in. Tap in.
Let's get Anthony Richardson in jail. Let's go ahead. No, we do not need that. I mean, that is a wild thing. You think that would ever happen in Pittsburgh? George Pickens outside Heinz Field. You think George Pickens?
I can see that.
Like Peasy had a
No
couple
way.
I can see some.
No way.
See some Italian PD maybe.
No, what is that all
It'd be the
about?
Italian.
Maybe for
Maybe
not
the
slugging
Irish.
an IC light before he goes
That's what
in.
I'm saying. I'm a little worried about South Florida. Is everybody all in on Dolphins? Or
We're all in.
We're distracted.
Right? We're all in.
We don't even know who Tyreek Hill is.
Yeah.
Outside of the what is going on in South Florida?
It's a hockey town now.
Oh,
It's not a
no.
football town.
That's sunrise.
It wouldn't happen to Chucky. It wouldn't happen with Chucky. But,
Why's that?
we don't know.
Yeah,
why is that?
It wouldn't happen to Chucky. I don't
What are you-
think it
what are you
would.
saying?
Why would it happen to him?
Joining us, that's not cool, but obviously ridiculous.
They'll figure it out.
That happened. Hopefully, everybody bygones be bygones, and let's never have that situation happen again anywhere in the world. Okay, let's do that.
Check the dream catcher.
I'm
All right.
ever again. It would be great if that just all right. Universe ball.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
All right, this goes in. Never happening again.
Okay.
no.
That'd be good for society.
It
That'd
would
be
be.
really cool.
Holy shit, that'd be so good for everybody.
You do some real good here.
Might be able to could do some real good.
Need a good shot. Need a good shot.
Oh my god, I've never felt this amount of pressure. This is
It's huge.
Change the world.
change the world, Pat.
Change the world, Pat.
Oh,
God.
oh no.
Oh my God! Someone get eyes on Ayuk and Debo driving to the facility today.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Aaron too. I mean, Aaron.
Well, I assume
No, it's
they're.
got to be a different sport now. We had golf. We had football. Brian, keep your
I'm
sick.
very happy that Halliburton
Joker.
didn't get arrested jumping up on that thing yesterday and doing this number here.
He almost did. They brought the cops over.
Cops
right
came over.
after.
Yeah, cops they come over and say, we're gonna act like we didn't see that. It's like, don't do that ever again. Hey, 70,000 strong just went absolute bananas. But like, we lose our jobs. You fucking, we don't look at this. I mean, the place did go crazy.
It was
absolutely bananas.
It's a huge moment.
Football's the greatest.
And he almost fell. I mean, he had to do the whole thing.
So media conversation, because we were showing the touchdown before that. Tyrese was like, man, I was on Jumbotron. He's like a kid.
Well, he's very young still.
He's 24 years old. He's like, that was so cool to be up there on the Jumbotron. I'm like, it's going to happen again, Tyrese. I think we got good news. I think it's going to happen again.
Guy was on Team USA.
I was
Gold medal.
Gold medal.
Loves life. He is an incredibly positive vibe to be around. Tyrese Halliburton is
the man.
He was the perfect person for that role that he was.
Great energy.
Oh, yeah.
His energy is phenomenal.
awesome.
We are very lucky that he is an Indiana Pacer.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I am very, very thankful for that. But there was a plan. Like, he was like, you think I can jump on this thing? I'm like, yeah, definitely jump up on that thing.
Athlete.
He was like, what if I eat shit, though? And I'm like, even better.
Sure.
Even better. Place goes bananas. You fall up there.
Say your hammer.
He jumps up there, and because he put it in his brain, he did a little bit.
Yep.
And then just nails it He's an Olympic gold medalist.
Right.
Doesn't have as many as Phelps. Phelps is 23.
Sure.
I did bring that up to him. You're 22 behind Michael Phelps, an Olympic gold medalist. He might get it, though. Tyrese takes care of himself. He might play in the next 20 Olympics.
Yeah, you never
we have
know.
no idea
There's
what
a
way
chance.
science is going. And then he does that. Everybody goes bananas for him. Then he goes over to the Fever game. Same exact shit. He is like the perfect representative for Indianapolis right now. Shout out to you, Halliburton.
Hell
Legit.
yeah. And he's coming in this week,
On
right?
Wednesday, yeah, because big win Iowa State had over Iowa. He's going to
shit.
chit-chat about that.
Oh, yeah. He already said some very unsavory things to me.
What, are you, unsavory?
Yeah, just downright disrespectful.
Wow.
Well, I can't wait to hear him on Wednesday because he does talk shit. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, from an attic in Ohio, is the all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, a Super Bowl champion and a college football national champion, A.J. Hall. A.J., full NFL Sunday slate, obviously games on Friday and Thursday. It is a great time to be alive right now, A.J.
Yeah, I mean, we can always count on this Monday. Like, halfway through the games yesterday, we're trying to bench quarterbacks that are getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars. We're trying to fire coaches already when you're like 19 minutes into your season. So this is the time. That's where we're at right now.
To be clear, I don't know how much time Canales has got down there in Carolina. And not by the fans, but I'm just talking. Tepper saw what happened there and so we got worse.
How's that?
How's that happen? You guys tell me to keep my hands out of this thing. And then all of a sudden we get worse.
Spent a lot of money.
A lot of money. Remember all the money you wanted me to spend? And then we got a division rival. Derek Carr played phenomenal. Okay. Derek Carr also told J.C. Horn that he put 3 of them things on his head. And then J.C. Horn responded, "Watch the film. There wasn't 3." Okay. Everybody needs to relax in this entire thing. Whatever the case, Carolina Panthers get absolutely stomped. And now the conversation is going to be about Bryce Young. I hope he has success, legitimately. But it has not gone well or boded well for him thus far. We shall see how next week goes. But all eyes are on the Carolina Panthers remaining a dumpster fire, which is not fair to Panthers fans because obviously they're a great bunch. But their team had a team that was worthy of about 400 tickets for the last game of the year last year. Okay, empty stadium. It looked like a COVID game.
Cost $1 to get in.
Yeah, it was literally, I think, 50-cent tickets.
Yeah, 25
they were doing 50-cent tickets down there. And then that happens to a division opponent. It is problematic in Carolina. Joining us now is a man who might be able to give us a little bit more insight on that particular situation and all of the others. He's obviously coached, 49 straight seasons of Week 1 NFL football. This is his first time not doing it, but you're going to see him everywhere breaking down the game, which is great for all of us. The greatest of all time whenever it comes to being a general manager in the NFL and a head coach in the NFL. He'll be joining us every single Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Belichick. Yeah, you look awesome.
Pat, how you doing?
What is that, Croatia? We got a Croatia
game.
What's that?
Croatia lacrosse.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are they? They a good club? They better than America? America beats the shit out of them, right?
A long way to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck to Good luck to Croatia.
President of the country, so.
Yeah. And you were deemed the president this offseason, right? You got the full
Yeah, well, not quite. Yeah, let's stick to football.
COVID game in Carolina. There was no fans at the end of the year. They obviously come in, lay an egg. Bryce Young, now the whole conversation's going to be about him. Let's move to some other games. Last night, Sunday Night Football, the Detroit Lions win a massive one. Is there anything to gain if you're MCDC to be like, yeah, we can win the Super Bowl this year, or does it legitimize any of these big wins whenever the coaches are talking to the players afterwards or the week leading up to the next week?
Yeah, I think, look, there's a long way to go. I think there's a little bit of overreaction to everything, win and lose here. But I'd say a couple of my impressions from the weekend. Number one, on the officiating, a lot of flags, a lot of calls. Now, some of those are sloppy play by the teams, which resulted in penalties. Some of them, they're just calling things really tight, like calling, Stanley in the Baltimore, Kansas City game. Like, I mean, I don't know. Some of those are tough calls. But in any case, a lot of penalties. And I think they're trying to, set, draw the line here and set things. But I think it's tough for players. AJ, you've been there before where you just, you're not really sure how the game's going to be called. And some of those are, eliminated big plays and created some opportunities. So that's one. Two, win or lose, there's a lot of work to do here for every team. They all got a long way to go. Three, there were a lot of injuries in the league. Jordan Love's certainly been highlighted, but there have been plenty of other ones. And I think these teams are going to be, in constant flux here for the next couple of weeks in terms of still settling in on the roster. There were, I would say over 50 practice squad elevations or signings. So Those guys, you can't keep doing that all year. Sooner or later, if you want to use those players, you got to get them up on the roster one way or another. So I think there's going to be a lot of personnel transition in the next couple of weeks. I think that teams are going to have to deal with a lot of injuries, not just this week, but I would anticipate the same thing happening next week as we ramp up the competition in back-to-back weeks until things settle in. And so for every team, no matter how things turned out on Sunday, I think they got to look ahead. They got to really take stock of what they need to do, how immediate it is, and how they can get better, both fundamentally and personnel-wise.
Yeah, and what you're talking about with those injuries to the bottom half of the roster, it's a lot of special teams. We saw a lot of special teams yesterday with the new kickoff, and there was a block punt in the game that I was at. There's been a couple returns already. I mean, we'll dive into all of that, but that's that bottom half of that roster that if you continue to turn over, you can really – I think you can get exposed and lose a close game. Let's talk about some of these young guys, Coach. And obviously, the boys are probably going to want you to expand on those three things that you just mentioned. But the young rookies came in and looked vastly different than how they looked in the preseason. I mean, preseason, we were so excited about all these guys. And you came on, you were like, yep, can't tell shit from preseason. Very basic, very basic. Let's not overreact here, is pretty much how you explain the entire situation. And then we see week one, it felt like that was the case. Is this natural for these rookies? Obviously, C.J. Stroud had an incredible run, but what should we take away from the rookie performances, and how long do you think it really takes for each individual guy to pick it up, the NFL life?
Well, I think it varies from player to player. I think that's kind of an unknown there, but I expect those the rookies, really all players, to get a lot better here in the first month of the season, and I'm sure those guys learned a lot. They saw a lot of coverages and a lot of looks and a lot of things that they didn't see in preseason. Or maybe they just saw from their defense in practice that they kind of got used to. So I'd say the big thing to take away for me was, the lack of, I would say, overall production in the passing game. So 8 quarterbacks had an under 75 quarterback rating. The pass length for some of those, like Jaden Daniels, his average pass length was less than 2 yards. Now, he had good yards after catch on that, but, Nix was a little over 2 yards. Watson was a little over 2 yards. Murray was a little over 2 yards. That's the average pass length. Caleb Williams is 3 yards. So, I mean, some of these guys, even the passes they're completing, aren't for very many yards. And, they're just totally counting on, run after catch and trying to protect the quarterback. So, there was 7 or 8 quarterbacks that.
Coach, is that scheme-based or is that like decision-based? Why does that happen with you?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a lot of, quick throws to try to get it out of the quarterback's hand and hope they can gain some yards running with it. But I'd say it's really a lack of execution in the intermediate passing game. Now, that's not the whole league, but, I mean, you've got almost half the league that threw for less than 175 yards. And I think this is the fewest touchdown passes that we've had in week one in quite a long time. I think 5 years ago there was, not quite twice as many, but almost twice as many. And so as a result, you saw 19 field goals over 50 yards. So that's a lot of field goal kicking that didn't turn into touchdowns, and a lot of good field goal kicking. So I thought there were some interesting takeaways. We'll see how much that improves, but it looked like there was a number of teams that really couldn't throw the ball for one reason or another, whether that was protection, whether it was, guys not being open, whether it was quarterback execution or overall team execution. And again, those teams are really going to have to work on that this week to be competitive in this league. You just can't win in the National Football League unless you can throw the ball and defend the passing game. So, sooner or later, that's gonna come into play.
Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, we saw some teams kind of dig themselves into a hole, and we saw some great comebacks week one. And I'm hearing a lot about like the halftime adjustments that happen. And that's always like a debate. How much, like as a coach, you've done it forever. How much can you get done at halftime, and can you really kind of turn the tide for your team if things aren't going well?
Well, I think AJ, I think you got to try to start sooner than that, and try to figure out what's going on, especially in the opener when you prepare for so much, and then you see how the game unfolds in the first 2 or 3 possessions. That here's what they're going to try to do to us, and here's how they're going to try to play the game. But to your point, sometimes you really need that time at halftime to say, okay, look, here's some changes we're going to make that are not just that simple. It really needs a good talking through to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So I think there's a little bit of a combination of both. I think there's some initial reaction that you need to settle down, and then sometimes when it involves multiple groups, like checks on defense or maybe an adjustment in the coverage or an adjustment in your protections, or maybe putting in a new combination route, to take advantage of a certain coverage, that those take a little bit more time. And sometimes I've had those conversations in the middle of the second quarter saying, all right, look, let's just take care of that at halftime and not deal with it right now. It's just there's too much going on.
Yeah, but we've seen those mic'd up clips of you back whenever you're like 24 years old, looking all young in those shorts and doing the full, we need the fucking
fire.
Yeah, the sideline shots. That's why the thought of you going back and being just a DC that got kind of pitched by, and obviously you said you're a big fan. This was just news that was outside of the world. The thought of you just being a DC again and getting back in that thing was wild because of all the mic'd up shit. But like the thought of you need to start before halftime if we're going to be making any adjustments is such a hilarious answer from Bill Belichick because that makes sense. That seemingly makes sense.
Pat, when you really think about it, to me, I always saw the game as 3 quarters. I saw it in thirds. You have the first quarter, you have the second quarter, you have the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter is really situational. By that time, everything's been declared for the most part, how you're going to play the game, how they're going to play the game. And then if you're ahead or you're behind, then the fourth quarter becomes much more a situational game. So I saw it as first, second, and third quarters as being a third of the game. And then the fourth quarter really at that point is either situational or you have so much information about the game that, you're making your decisions based on what you've seen in the first 3 quarters. So that's kind of the way I looked at the game.
Now,
so I don't want to wait till halftime. To me, the game's 2/3 over at halftime in terms of making adjustments. I felt like, you got to go quicker than that.
And
Ernie, one thing that's hard.
Okay.
One thing that's hard is these script teams, the West Coast teams, that script the first 10 or 15 plays. A lot of times that screws you up because that's not really what they want to do. That's just how they want to start the game, and sometimes you just can't lock in too much on that. Well, like this is what they're trying to do. No, that play just fell into the script because they want to break a tendency or they want to try to foul you up somehow early in the game. But once the game settles in, then I think you've got to react to the game. You can't just wait till halftime to make adjustments.
When do you have a feel on what the other team's trying to do? End of first quarter, beginning of second quarter, when?
Well, usually a couple of series, I'd say defensively, depending on how long the series are. But, until they've had 3 or 4 third downs, until they've had, half a dozen, maybe 8 to 10 early down plays. It's 15, 16 plays, somewhere in that neighborhood. You usually have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be.
And
now, sometimes that can get skewed a little bit. Like at the first 20 plays, half of them are in your red area for whatever reason. They drive down and, run 5 or 6 plays, kick a field goal, and then they get down there again and they run, now half your plays are in the red area. So that red area is declared, maybe out in the field hasn't, or vice versa. Maybe you haven't seen them in the red area yet. But I think by the end of this first quarter, you should have a pretty good idea of how they're trying to play you today.
Who's somebody that got you a couple times? Anybody because I know you and Peyton have massive respect for each other. Was that like a chess game between you and Peyton? And who was?
Well, Peyton's offense was all check with me at the line of scrimmage. So whatever play he called, he would look at the defense because they never motioned. They always gave you the same 2x2 set, and then based on how you aligned, then if he didn't like what they had called, then he would make a protection adjustment, a route adjustment, or change the running play. But I would say, Shanahan, both Mike and Kyle were very balanced guys. So when you go against them, as soon as it looked like this was starting to be a little bit of a trend, then they would do something to counter it. And so you had to think of them as of balance, right? The trend was balance. So if things tilted towards runs or passes or directional plays more to the right than the left or things like that, then you could almost count on him balancing it out so that in the end, you couldn't get a read on which way it was going or whether it's a run pass tendency and so forth, that they were kind of 50-50 on most everything except for third and long.
We will talk about Kyle Shanahan's offense later in this discussion because massive Monday Night Football game. But before that, Ty has a question for you about this week.
Yeah, Coach, Jim Harbaugh, and you just mentioned it there about how, guys are going to get better over the course of the first month of the season. But Jim Harbaugh said in the locker room after the Chargers win, hey, while it's a long season, the most important area of growth or where you're going to grow the most as a team is going to be between weeks 1 and 2. Do you agree with that sentiment? And if you do or if you don't, why do you think that is, that teams oftentimes will show the most amount of growth or the most important area of growth as a team over weeks 1 and 2?
Well, I think because in week one, it's now clear to you. You can talk about things in preseason, what you feel like you're good at or not good at, but you don't really know. Once you come out of week one against at least the opponent that you played against, which is some indication, you can come out of there and feel like, all right, well, we need to work on this. And, it looks like we're going to be okay here. And, maybe some of the guys you have questions about, answer those questions with their play in that game one way or the other. And then you have a lot more to work with. But I would say the other point of growth for a team during the year is at whatever point there's a crisis, right? At some point there's a crisis with your team, and how do you respond to that team? The kind of the on to Cincinnati story or something like that. If we got crushed in Kansas City, that week became really probably the biggest in that particular season, the 14th season, the biggest week of the season for us, not the opener. So it just kind of depends. But I think when your season hits that crisis point of a tough loss or it could be a big win that gives your team a lot of confidence, or your quarterback getting injured, Brady coming in there winning a couple of big games, beating Cleveland and so forth in 2001, beating Miami, sometimes those games are the ones that really solidify and crystallize your team. You just don't know when they're coming. But when they're there, you realize this is an important week for us.
Do you think the crisis automatically makes everybody hyper-focused more and re-perspective things? Do you think that is the reason why those are the weeks where everything's really tightened back up almost?
Well, yeah, I think there's sometimes where you realize that this is it. Like, we either get it going here or we're going to be in a lot of trouble. We're either going to close the gap to tied for the lead in the division, or we're going to fall 2 games back with 5 games to go, or whatever the circumstances are. It becomes pretty obvious that this is the key time for us here. If things don't go well, we're going to really put ourselves in a tough position.
Let's go to some key times for. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask about Ernie, and I stepped on you 3 times. I didn't want to do that. What was Ernie doing up there? We watch all the Do Your Jobs, and I think I heard him on Games with Names with Edelman, and he sounds awesome. Yep. Everybody loves him. During games, was he just figuring things? My vision of him is the Zach Galifianakis thing at the blackjack table where he's counting the cards and he just knows what's going on, but for football. Is that an accurate depiction of who Ernie is? Yeah?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay.
First analytics department.
First analytics guy of all time.
Yeah, and there was he wasn't really a chart guy. He just knew everything. But yeah, Ernie was on with every play. So he was on when we were on offense and we were on defense. He would flip over. If there were any decisions to be made in terms of taking or declining a penalty, 2-point plays, anything like that, 4th down situations, what to do. I would consult with him on every one of those. And then a lot of times after the series, I would go back and talk to him on a telephone so I wouldn't tie everybody else up on the line and just say, after a couple of series, hey, Ernie, what's this look like here? And he'd say, well, it looks like we can pass block him, but we're not going to be able to run block him today. And, let's forget about the running game. And we need to start throwing the ball or whatever the case might be. We can't match up with this receiver. We're going to have to start doubling this guy. They haven't hit him yet, but, we need to help, cover that guy. Or this is what they're trying to do. I can see what their game plan is. They haven't really hit us on it because we've been in a lot of cover 3, but these are all cover 2 beaters. They're going to try to beat us in cover 2 and, things like that. So it was really awesome.
So you two were a tag team? I mean, what are we even talking about? Sounds like these are superpowers combined. That's a weapon. That is a weapon.
Ernie's really smart, and he had a great feel for the game, and he had a great anticipation of kind of based on who the coordinator was, who the coach was, who the players were, kind of what they would be thinking or what they have done in similar situations in the past. He had a great memory. Has a great memory.
Hey, Ernie, good job, Ernie.
Legend. Thank you, Ernie.
Good job, Ernie. An extra set of eyes that are in front of a football genius mind. Yeah, just
crazy.
Hanging out, got the headset on. Come on. Right back into it. I mean, what a time. Congrats to you both. Legendary stuff. You talked about crisis time being like, hey, we got to shit or get off the pot here, or this thing's going to go first to last. There's some players that have a shit or get off the pot type career situation happening right in front of our eyes. D-Bud has a question for you.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks. You mentioned, the overall offensive production kind of being down, but some places where the quarterback play was kind of on point. Baker Mayfield in Tampa, Sam Darnold in Minnesota, they dialed some things up, couple touchdowns, some 4-by-1 formation. Stroud wild Mason plays, and also Derek Carr in New Orleans. What do those coordinators and offenses do to kind of get those quarterbacks going and putting up points and being efficient with the ball?
Yeah, well, as you know, D-Butt, the biggest thing for the quarterback is decision-making, right? So when you snap the ball and call the play and the players run their routes, you don't always know what the defense is going to be in. You have to figure out where the weak point of the defense is, which guy to throw it to. And sometimes, even if that's where you want to go, they have it taken away somehow, and then you have to make a decision with it. And I think the big thing is, anytime that things go bad,
things go bad right now. Freeze up. This is our
try not to lose yardage. You know, try not to lose yardage, and then if you can make a play, but don't make a play, make a bad play. So that's the one that always got me when the players said, "Well, I was trying to make a play." I was like, "Well, how about try to make a good one then?" Make a bad play. So like the play that Levis had, where he gets out of the pocket, he flips the ball, underhand, backhand, whatever it was, and that's just, even if you hit it, what do you really have? Not much. And then if you don't hit it, then you lose the game. So it's just, there's no upside to that play. There's only downside, and it's just, that's just a terrible decision.
Can we do some risk management, please? Can we do a little risk management, please? We're in the fourth quarter. We have a lead right now. We're giving it up. We gave it up here. Yeah. And the other team has not scored.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all been defensive. A couple of those. Steelers win without scoring a touchdown. Denver was on a run there where they had 2 safeties, 2 field goals, and then something else. And that goes back to your point, I guess, about the entire offensive production and quarterback production. A lot of bad decisions, it sounds like you think, are taking place right now for some places.
Well, no. Look, I mean, one team wins and one team loses, so there are key decisions on both sides. But I think when you look at a player like Brady, the thing that Brady, of all the great plays that he made, the thing that Brady didn't do was, he didn't have very many plays like Levis had yesterday, where he just gives the game away or makes a bad decision for the team. Tom always protected the team, and even if it wasn't a great play, at least it wasn't a bad play, which is one of the reasons why we had so few negative runs when Tom was the quarterback. It wasn't that necessarily every run was a great run, but if it was a bad run, Tom wouldn't run it. He'd find something else to do. He'd throw a look pass out to the receiver or change the play in some way, but it wasn't just, run the ball and get slaughtered for a 3-yard loss. I think he must have said, I don't know how many times yesterday in the game, in the Cleveland game, Dallas keeps going backwards. They keep losing too many yards. Well, that's the truth. The offense's job is to move the ball forward. And when you're in 2nd and long and 3rd and long, more than 10 yards, I mean, it's really impossible to have any kind of success or any kind of consistency. So just get the thing moving in the right direction. And Tom and I have talked a million times about, if you complete this pass, what's the upside? You gain 1 yard, you gain 2 yards. All right, you guys going to get tackled anyway, like the play we just saw in Tennessee. I mean, what if he had completed that? What's the upside? 2 yards? What's the downside? Lose the game. Like that's you just can't make those kind of decisions. I mean, even if that ball had been complete, there's no upside to it. And so, Tom did a great job of risk management and cut his losses. And so, rather than turn the ball over, all right, you lose a couple of yards and you get sacked, but at least we can gain our field position back by punting on 3rd down.
Coach, I don't know if you know this because you've been in an NFL building in your own silo, seemingly. The term game manager is like a slanderous term for a quarterback. It's like, why? Like, game manager is exactly what you want at quarterback. Do you agree with that, or am I wrong in that thought?
Yeah, no, 100%. The idea is to win the game. And if you have to win the game by let the defense win this game, then you put the defense in good position to let them win it. Whether it's Peyton, Drew Brees, Rodgers, Mahomes, Brady, like those guys are all great quarterbacks, but they won. The reason why they won is because they figured out what they needed to do to win in that game. And look, sometimes you got to go out and score 48 points. Sometimes you just got to not turn the ball over and give yourselves a chance to play good defense. Sometimes, again, Tom said this multiple times yesterday. It was great. I mean, I felt like, I was hearing an echo, but they're in field goal range. Don't lose yardage. You got 3 points. Yeah. And then something would happen to get a penalty or something and end up not being able to even get 3 points out of it. So, knowing where you are and not going backwards offensively when you're already in scoring range, you have a good field goal kicker. Those are things like that. I mean, you could say they're little things, but they're not little things. It's not game management. It's winning football.
Yeah. I don't know when it became, but it was wild. It just kind of like took over the internet. That guy's a game manager. It's like, no shit. Yeah, it's part of being a quarterback. Yeah. Need to manage it.
Yeah.
Need that to happen in this entire thing. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, you mentioned Tom saying things, and it felt like it was an echo. Like, what does that feel like as a coach when you hear your former players actually, like you think, yeah, these guys actually were listening to me all this time. And when you hear them giving other people advice or coaching that you gave them, it's almost like when you see your kids doing that when they, sometimes my kids don't want to listen, but then I see my oldest telling my youngest ones like things that I have said. I'm like, okay, they actually are hearing me. Like, how does that feel as a coach?
Yeah, it's a great feeling, isn't it? No, that's a great comparison, AJ. It's similar like that with, when you hear that from your kids, you hear that from another player. But look, I would say with Tom, I learned a lot more from him than he learned from me, I'm sure. When we would sit in those meetings, look, I see the game from the sideline. I see the game from film. Tom would see the game from where he saw it from behind the center and in the pocket. And, he would say, here's what I can see. This is what's hard for me. This is what, this is why gives it away and things like that. And he taught me all the little things. With some are big things of, just how he saw the game as a quarterback and, what would happen in between plays. He'd hear somebody on the defense say something and then he'd know that would give him a tip as to what they were doing or, if the guy was tired, he'd call a play and go at him again or, that type of thing. And, he could just tell sometimes by looking at guys' eyes how nervous they were trying to cover a certain receiver, and he'd throw at that guy. Those are little things that, as a coach, you just don't see. But on the field, you've seen it, AJ. There's things that you see on the field that a coach just can't pick up on film. And so, look, I learned a tremendous amount from Tom. We had a great relationship, and hopefully he learned some things from me too. But the amount that he taught me about playing quarterback and seeing the game through his eyes, that Randy Moss taught me about being a receiver. Being a fast receiver, because I'm not fast. I don't know what it's like to be fast.
What
it's like to be fast, and that taught me a lot. It was it was look, the whole game management thing. The idea is to win, and if the quarterback's job is to help the team win, and it's also his job is to help his players be productive, right, and gain yardage. And so I used to tell Tom all the time, and Tom knew it. We could never gain any yards as long as he had the ball. We would only gain yards as soon as he gave it to somebody else.
He's 1,000 yards rusher. Remember?
No big deal.
He's 1,000-yard rusher, right? That's quarterback sneak he had. Every
really
time.
Hey,
every time.
The quarterback sneaks, the quarterback sneaks not included because he was great at quarterback sneaks. Okay. But, when he ran the ball, we didn't gain any yards. And until he threw it to somebody else, we didn't gain any yards. So the quicker the ball got out of his hands and the quicker he got it to somebody else, the more yards we were going to gain, the more points we were going to score. And that's the way he played. And that's, not to the other team, but get it to our guys and let them be productive with it. That's what good quarterbacks do.
Greatest of all time.
If you're a quarterback like Lamar Jackson or somebody like that, yeah, he can gain some yards. Like, I get that. He can gain some yards. But Tom knew what he was and what he wasn't. And Tom's job was to get the ball to everybody else and let them gain the yards. And nobody did it better.
We're excited to watch Tom grow through the season as commentators. The internet was not kind to him, but it's Tom Brady. That's going to happen. He's used to it. He's only going to work and get better. I'm excited to get smarter through listening to him as well. Connor has a question for you about one of the quarterbacks he was talking about yesterday.
Yeah, Coach, putting your GM cap on, what do you think about the Dak contract? Obviously, he becomes the first guy to make $60+ million, over the course of a season. But do you think that is something that the Cowboys had to do? And do you think they're worried at all about the, prospect of paying Dak, CD, and soon to be Micah Parsons a large portion of their cap over the next few years?
Well, Connor, look, I'll tell you, having good players is not a problem. All right, that's not a problem. The problem is when you don't have good players. So look, they have to figure out how to do it. I think when you look at a lot of these contracts that have come through in the last year or two, at quarterback, at wide receiver, at cornerback, at pass rusher, even at defensive tackle. I think what a lot of these teams are looking at is the cap going up. And so 2 years from now, those contracts, they look high today, but 2 years from now, they'll look, probably pretty good compared to what some other guys are getting. I think when you look at what Prescott does for his team and what he's been able to accomplish, the consistency over his career, where you compare what he's making to what some other guys who are making maybe a little less than him, but kind of in that same ballpark. I think the Cowboys are pretty happy with who they have. And, think you got to give Jerry and Steven a lot of credit for the way they've managed the team. And look, the only way you can have a good team when you have players like CeeDee Lamb and Prescott and Parsons and guys like that is you got to find some other guys that are pretty good too. And they did a great job in the kicking game coming up with Aubrey and Turpin. Those are two of the best players in the league at their position. They gave up nothing for them. And so when you have two elite players as a returner and as a field goal kicker that you basically gave up nothing for and they're, minimal charge on the salary cap, well, that's how you afford the Dak Prescotts and that's how you afford the CeeDee Lambs. You got to get guys like that. And, this guy, I mean, I would not kick it to this guy. I'll tell you that right now. I would.
So fast.
Pat, if you were punting for me, I'd say, look, either you get the ball out of bounds, all right, or, we're going to go for it on fourth down. I want to see this guy.
We're going to go for it on fourth down. Yeah.
I mean, he broke the one, but, I mean, he was close on about three other ones, too.
Yeah.
I would not kick the ball to Turpin. Now, look, Corey's not a good, he's not a good directional kicker, so it is what it is, but I mean, that guy is just way too dangerous to put the ball in his hands.
Bajorquez is who he was talking about, the punter. He has a massive leg. When he connects on one, it is nuclear. But in Cleveland, with it windy, are you going to connect 100% every single time? And then you give that one didn't turn over. He didn't like it at all. And as soon as Turpin, these returners, as soon as they see it off the foot, they know if they have a chance or not. And when you're blocking for a guy like him, you're giving extra effort too because they think he can go every single time. That boosts the entire sideline, the entire locker room. A touchdown in the return game is vital. I mean, it is a game winner. I forget what the percentage is, but it's like 75% or something like that. I forget what it is. You win the game. You steal possession. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's bonus points. You can't ever go into the game and think, well, we're going to score 7 points on a punt return or a block punt or something like that or an interception return. You can't count on that. But when it happens, it's 7 bonus points or however many times it happens. Those are extra points that you don't count on. I mean, you're happy when they happen, but you can't go into a game and think, well, I'm going to score, on a 90-yard punt return. Like, that's just unrealistic. But when you get that, that's 7 bonus points that, as long as you don't give them back, the other team doesn't have.
Okay, so let's talk about the bonus points and how you view games. I don't know all the preparation you did for this evening's Monday Night Football matchup, but how do you see this game going tonight? What should we look for if we were a Bill Belichick human being? How would we watch tonight's game, and what are we expecting?
Well, I think it's two very, very different preparation scenarios. Defensively, for the 49ers, you're looking at Aaron Rodgers, who didn't play last year on a team that you've never seen him play for, and you're kind of trying to project how he would look in Green Bay, how it would be with the Jets with different players and all that. I mean, that's a tough scenario. Now, one thing about the Jets is they do what they do, and they play, they don't really vary a lot from week to week. So I think that, they'll just kind of play it out, and I don't expect them to do anything particularly special until they see how the game's going. But it's a tough game to prepare for. I would say on the other side of the ball for Coach Shanahan, Coach Shanahan knows where the Jets are going to be defensively, and he can attack them and really have a good plan on how to go after them. And if it were me, I would stay away from Williams. I would stay away from Mosley. I would try to get the ball outside as much as possible and run away from those guys and try to get the ball to the edge. They have a lot of trouble with the, outside plays. Their ends getting cracked and that kind of thing. They don't really care about that. So I would be worried if I was the Jets about the ball getting to the perimeter of the formation a lot, whether it be to the receivers or McCaffrey or those guys. So it's it's an interesting matchup here, and I would say it'd be interesting to see how Rodgers and how that offense looks with him in it, because to me you got to stop the big three on offense. You got to stop Rodgers, you got to stop Hall, and you got to stop Wilson. So when we played the Jets, we doubled Wilson and we tried to put as many guys in the box as we could to stop the running game with Hall, but they didn't have Rodgers, so that makes it a little bit tougher. It's more of a challenge defensively for those guys.
What you just said there, we doubled Wilson, then we packed the box for Hall. Everybody says, Bill Belichick's going to make you win left-handed. He's going to make you. He's going to eliminate your best player. And I'm assuming you've been told this, but players would feel like honored whenever they became the person. Like you went from Reggie to T.Y. And when T.Y. saw it the first time, obviously he did not do well that particular game, but everybody around him was like, hey, Bill knows you're the guy though. Like that's a cool thing. I think people almost saw it, I don't want to say as an honor, but it was a cool thing to kind of talk about. Christian McCaffrey's that guy for the Niners. And is that an accurate depiction of how you view teams and how you set up your defenses?
Well, it depends on the team, but I would say, yeah, with the Jets, I mean, you got to try to keep Hall from getting the ball, which is tough because they hand it to him. But, in terms of screen passes and things like that where they can get him the ball in the passing game, he's a very good receiver. I mean, I would do everything I could to keep it out of his hands. Wilson, you've got a much better chance of keeping it out of his hands because as a receiver, I mean, they can hand him the ball on a jet sweep or something, but there's not going to be very many of those. I would double Wilson and, make sure that he doesn't kill you. And then, look, the rest of your guys got to hold up. And we had a lot of success in, with Revis in 2014. We usually put Revis on the number 2 receiver and doubled the number 1 receiver. So we took away the number 1 guy with 2 players. But then if they threw to their second guy, they were throwing against Revis. So that was a pretty good matchup for us. And whoever the third guy was, was the third guy. We, I won't say didn't care about him, but we didn't care about him. But
beat us.
What happened was, we had one breakout party. We did that against Green Bay, all right, and we doubled the 2 guys there, Cobb and what's his name,
Jordy.
We doubled those 2 guys, and we said, well, we're going to take our chances on Devontae Adams. He really hasn't done much. And he killed us. He had about 125 yards in that game, and that was his coming out party. Was when we tried to single cover him, and Rodgers found him, and they killed us. So when they have too many weapons, you can't get everybody. But that was, that's one that again, that's the greatness of Rodgers, is he finds where you're weak, and he usually can get you, and of course McCarthy too. So. But yeah, that was a long day in Green Bay. Now, luckily, the season turned out okay, but that was a long day in Green Bay.
I assume you guys won it. Yeah, you guys won it that year.
Yeah, we went out and we left Green Bay. We left Green Bay. Couldn't wait to get out of there and went out to San Diego and practice out there. Of course, it hadn't rained in San Diego in 50 years, but the week we got there, it had like 25 inches of rain or something. So we were practicing in mud puddles at the University of San Diego. It was kind of a rough it wasn't ideal conditions, but it had so much rain out there. But yeah, that was we talked about crisis situations for that year. That was kind of a crisis for us. We left Green Bay, went out to San Diego, and I'd say kind of the team really came together, generated a lot of team chemistry, and we came back. We were a much better team the rest of the way. So you never know how sometimes those games will turn out.
Go ahead, AJ.
How would you, Coach, if you were?
Excuse me, but Devontae should have sent me a check for that, because his career took off after that game, and I never got a kickback on that.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows. He's told his friends. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure he's told his friends.
Oh yeah, he might send you some of that Taco Bell money, Coach. Yeah,
he's got Taco Bell in his house.
In his house, yeah.
In his house. Go ahead, AJ. Sorry.
He's doing pretty well. Let's say if you were running the 49ers defense tonight, you talk about quarterbacks. Like some quarterbacks, they say, oh, you need to blitz this guy. You need to get him off his spot, make him uncomfortable. Other guys, you want to sit back and pick him apart maybe and not let him kind of thread the needle. What would you do if you were a defensive coordinator facing Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I would say, first of all, the Jets have a really good cornerback that is, going to match up pretty well against most everybody. And he's a good tackler, too. So the perimeter of the formation, I think is pretty solid over there. Reed's done a good job for him. But I think if they go after anybody, they would go after Reed. The guy that, honestly, that worries me the most in there would be Mosley. And I would use Mosley. I would try to free Mosley up as much as possible, to read Rodgers and be able to help on the short and intermediate routes inside. And again, that being said, I'd make sure that Hall doesn't get the ball as much as possible, because he's really hard to tackle. I think especially early in the year, we've already seen it this week, how many running backs and receivers are making these guys miss in space and going for long runs on missed tackles and things like that. So I don't think the tackling is necessarily as good as what it's going to be during the year. But I would try to keep my best player, who I think is Mosley, free as much as possible so he doesn't get tied up on somebody, and let him deal with Rodgers and in the middle of the formation. And I hope that Reed and Gardner and Carter can hold up outside, because really the Jets are pretty good in the secondary. I think the big thing for the Jets is they've lost two really good players. They've lost Franklin Myers and Huff, and those two guys were I would say they were pretty close to game wreckers. And so they still have Williams, but I think Williams without the edge rush, obviously Reddick's not there now. How good will that be? And they used to bring those guys in waves, change the defensive line, 4 guys come in and out every 3 or 4 plays. It doesn't look like they have that kind of depth. So we'll see how good, Johnson and McDonald are on the edge now. Maybe they'll really come into their own this year. But I'm telling you, Huff and Franklin Myers were 2 really, really good players that, honestly, when they were out of the game, we always kind of thought more about, like, this is a good time to throw the ball.
Yeah, there's been some mic'd up situations where your sideline has captured somebody who's off the field. We need to attack right now. And I think that's classic NFL football. I'm very pumped to see how it all navigates tonight.
Yeah.
I am very excited to see how the evening is navigated. And there's been a couple conversations, like in Indianapolis, they had some coconut husk as the turf. Brazil, obviously, there was slippy, slidey. Tonight, D-Bud has a question for you.
Yeah, the playing surface. I know you're probably more dialed in than most about the playing surface out in Santa Clara. What is it out there, and what's your I guess research going into a game, and what's your conversation with players? I know the only thing I remember hearing from you is get some cleats that work, but what is that conversation? What's that research like for you going into a game when it comes to playing surfaces? Obviously, very, very important.
Right. Well, as you know, but the only problem with the cleats is just the skill players, right? the linemen and all, they're not problems. It's the skill guys that, a lot of them want to wear slippers out there and all that. And so, if the field was bad, then I would just, make it mandatory that we're going with the 7 stud cleats. And even though there was some pushback on that at times, I'd say for the most part, when the field, warranted it, that in the end they were glad that they had them. And, as an experienced team, guys that had played, in a lot of games, whether it be the surface in London or Green Bay, places that have kind of, I would say, slick fields. San Francisco's another one. That those 7 stud cleats are really, the best answer for footing. Not all necessarily embraced by the receiver, but you know what? The receivers that cut hard and that really can change directions well, they actually gained a big advantage with them too. So, in the end, I think if the field's that bad, that's just what you got to do.
Coach, I don't want to. Last question here. We can't thank you enough for all your time here in that Croatian lacrosse hoodie. Where are you? You're in a different. You've been in a different place every single time we've talked to you. You're in a different place.
Yeah, I try to keep it moving so you don't track me down here.
That's smart. That's a smart play. Looks like there's a lot of shit getting done in that particular office, though.
You're right. There is.
Yeah. Where is that? What office is that?
No, I can't give away my secret location here.
Fair. Smart.
You knew better than that.
You're 100% right. It's
CIA
good looking office. Good looking office. No windows. Good looking office. Are you projecting how games are going to go in any of your shows? Like, are you like tonight?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not a prognosticator.
Smart.
I can't wait to see how it plays out, though. It'd be great to see Rodgers play. I mean, I have so much respect for that guy. That guy is like one hell of a player. He's a great situational player. He's got eyes in the back of his head. He's got a tremendous arm. I love what Rodgers can do as a player. I hated to play against him, but I have so much respect for him. It'll be interesting to see what he can do with this team, and we'll see how good the Jets are on defense. I mean, they've been one of the best defensive teams in the league the last couple of years. We'll see how they can do against that. And the Jets and the 49ers have really good skill players. I mean, you can't let McCaffrey get going if you're the Jets. I mean, that he's a game wrecker. Ayuk on third down situations. Kittle's probably one of, if not the best tight end in the league. I mean, he's a tremendous player. Those guys are all really hard to tackle. They all block. So, they're a tough matchup. Like, they're a really tough matchup with Trent back there. I mean, they're solid at left tackle. So, the blind side is good. And Kyle's a great offensive coach and a scheme coach. So I'm sure that he'll challenge the Jets with some, good looking plays and tough schemes.
How'd you guys miss on Brock Purdy, you think? How'd everybody miss on him? Feels like he's an incredible situational manager of a game, and makes big-time throws. Why do you think he slipped all the way to the last pick, you think?
Yeah, I mean, he was a productive guy in college. Sometimes, the measurables and just again, it wasn't a great school for a lot of the productions. I think some people thought was system based, but he certainly embraced that. And again, look, he's playing with some great players. Again, Kittle, good as there is. McCaffrey, good as there is. Ayuk, Debo, like those guys are really good. Left tackle. I mean, these guys could have, 6, 7 guys in a Pro Bowl just on the offensive side of the ball. So it's a really good team. He's part of a really good team. And he, does the right thing, doesn't hurt him, makes some plays that he needs to make. But he's got some really good players with him, and he's very well coached. He's got a great coaching staff. They have a great offensive line coach, great head coach. I mean, Mick Lombardi out there and Kyle and I mean, they're all like that. That's a good, it's a good offensive staff, and they've had tremendous success. So whether it be in Atlanta or in San Francisco, I mean, they just do a lot of things well. They're very precise, and they have great execution. So he's part of it. I don't think it's all him. It's not all Kittle. It's not all Williams. It's not all McCaffrey. But you put them all together, like, man, they're tough to stop.
Great team. Can't wait to watch them tonight, and the defense flies around as well. We got a good one for Monday Night Football. We're incredibly lucky for you. Ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT, Bill Belichick. Thank you, GOAT.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. What a time.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
He's great.
I feel like I learned so much football.
Yeah.
How about Ernie?
Ernie's a dog.
Yeah.
They haven't done this yet, but they're gonna. So be ready.
Monday Night Football tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to do this for a living. College Game Day will be in South Carolina this weekend.
Ooh.
Can't wait to get down there. I heard it's not going to be hot as shit. All right. Good luck. Let's enjoy tomorrow. Be a friend. Tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Right on screws. Right out of the weekend.
Bang.
Boom.
Boom.
Right out of the weekend.
I like that countdown clock. I like that.
Slapper. That's from Matt Garrett. One of the producers. Oh, what's his title? There's so many fucking titles. That show.
Dog.
There are so many titles.
The biggest
Lead
of the heads.
dog. Lead dog.
Dude, there's this title, then there's this title. Well, this one actually slightly this title in certain situations. But then this title, he's CP, coordinator producer. Okay, he's got a massive head.
Of Game Day?
Biggest head you've ever seen.
Yeah, he's CP of Game Day. And then there's the AP and
FP.
DP.
EP, CP.
Yeah.
FB.
Yeah. There's GP.
GP. Dog.
George Pickens.
Dog.
There he is.
Holy shit.
Look at that guy. That's a little bit of a blurry photo. I don't know if it's doing him as much justice as possible. This is a handsome redheaded male.
Yeah, of course.
Goes by the name of Red. I didn't name him that, but that's what people call him whenever I met him. Hat size bigger than you got. He walks on the lids.
9.5.
I thought it was 10 3/4.
I think
he's
you might be
11.
wrong.
No, that was
11.
Debo.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it was 11. I think it was a size 11.
Those
but
big hats.
He wears those big hats.
Yeah, just
you're
that
right.
regular hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
forgot.
true.
That's actually how it started. A company had to make this guy a hat, and they're like, you know what? These are kind of fucking like a niche little comical.
People are
Put
gonna love
foam
it.
in
Even love
for
it.
a normal head, yeah.
For him, though, proportional. And the reason why his head is that big is because that brain inside of it.
Fucking brain.
He's got a big fucking brain. Went to Miami of Ohio. I don't know. I don't know how you get in TV from Miami of Ohio. I
Say
thought
Sean McVay.
No, he was roommates with Roethlisberger.
who? Matt Garrett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
Is he a center? He played
Yeah, I think
ball
he
in
was
college?
How about the DC for the Rams played college ball
Yeah,
with
with
McVay
McVay.
at Miami of Ohio? I saw that last night. He was D lineman, I think.
Yeah.
Linebacker?
His grandpa is also Don Shula. Certainly doesn't hurt.
What?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, Grandpa.
Yeah, it was
Grandpa Dahn.
interesting. You see names just kind of.
Had a great game plan.
Did he?
It was
Completely
17-3.
took St. Brown out of the game. Completely took Laporta out of the game. Relied on, luckily, J-Mo came in through, and then the offensive line was great as well.
Yeah, Montgomery did his thing for
Yes.
sure. Let's talk about the other side of the ball. Anzalone.
Oh, my God.
Absolute dog.
What?
Weapon.
With the hair flying, looked like he was one of those Packer linebackers.
True.
from back
He did.
then. He looked like AJ and Clay.
Yeah.
He did.
Back when they used to click-clack their asses
Click,
around
clack.
football fields. Anzalone was Paisan and everybody. I mean, he was everywhere.
I think he had 120 tackles last year. He's always everywhere.
13 last night.
Yeah, he's a bit of a menace.
Before we get to a break, and then we'll have J.K. Dobbins on the other side as we wrap up this beautiful Overreaction Monday, we have to talk about the kickoffs.
Yep.
The dynamic kickoff made its full debut this weekend, and there's a lot of stats coming out from the NFL and from the founders of the new dynamic kickoff. We have an entire graphic filled with them. The percentages of returns this year, week one, versus last year, up 15% basically. 34% of kickoffs were returned in 2024's week 1 versus 20% in week 1 of 2023. Okay. 1 kickoff was returned for a touchdown in week 1 after only 4 were returned for touchdowns in all of 2023. There were 3 kickoff returns of at least 40 yards in week 1, average 1.3 such returns per week in 2023, totaling 24 for the entire season. Okay, so we're way ahead of track for explosive plays, obviously. The average drive start was at 29.5 as opposed to the 25, which would make sense because the touchback is at the 30. Scoring average 45.5 points per game, the highest through week 1 since 2021, whenever it was 48. So it seems like an uptick happening on the offense side of the ball whenever you have a more advanced drive start average. Obviously, the percentage of scoring go up because less first downs are needed, to kick a field goal or score a touchdown. And Bill Belichick alluded to it. These kickers are making everything.
Yeah.
These kickers are making everything. Now, obviously, there's a miss every once in a while, but the big dogs, the kickers in the NFL right now, are better than they've ever been. There's more. Like Chris Boswell goes 6 for 6 with 350-plus yards. Brandon Aubrey made a 66-yarder that didn't count because of a Fugaze delay of game. Let the play stand.
Come on.
What are we doing? Let the play stand. 66 yards in Cleveland on the lake. Now, Mudd had a breeze at his back, but it was certainly swirling at some point. He puts that through with pretty good distance. There's a penalty to back it up 5 yards. 70. He thought he made it. He thought he just broke a record. I'm a record book. My name's Brandon Aubrey. I never fucking miss. 66 yards. This thing's easy. I am so good. Since I got in here, you see Foss Bones go, we call for a reset of the play clock. That's baloney. They backed it up for a 71-yarder. He was out there.
Yeah.
And Mike McCarthy, I was like, all right, the kid wants to do it. Let's fucking right for half. We're beating the shit out of the Browns right now anyways. And then Cleveland Browns call a timeout to ice him on a 71-yarder. I think you're okay.
Let him boot it.
I think you're okay there. Whatever you got to do. But because they iced him, take him off the field, they don't go for it. So good move by Stefanski.
Yeah, I guess.
Because there's a chance 71-yarder is in your face. Let's get back to the kickoff. So Brandon Aubrey, he had the best one. Brandon Aubrey actually hit the line drive ball that lands in the landing zone and then goes through the end zone. This happened yesterday, 4 o'clock game, Tom Brady's debut. He line drived it. It hits in the landing zone, splits the returners because there's one on each side. Yeah, little liner. Boom, how you doing? Let me get this thing down on the ground. Bang, pow, skips through, in the landing zone, through the end zone. That's a touchback that comes out to the 20. That's a 10-yard head start.
Wow.
Okay? That's a 10-yard head start for your defense as opposed to just kicking a touchback that comes out to the 30. I believe Bates attempted to do the same thing. Ball landed at the 20, but they ended up returning it anyways in this entire thing. Go ahead, Ty.
The Packers had one, I think, after their first possession on Friday night, too. Hit like kind of a little squib and landed right at like the 1-yard line, beat up the returner. I think Philadelphia ended up like starting on like the 17 after that.
And Jake Bates just hit like a classic squib, and it landed at the 20.
Right.
I wonder how many more kickers are just going to, because the fear is if that lands on the 20.5-yard line, which Bates almost did, that ball comes out to the 40.
Yep.
So that's
tough.
That's 2 first downs. They're in field goal range with modern. That's not good for your defense at all. So it's like a roll of the dice if you try to hit that little liner. But Jake Bates it looks like he just hit a squib and it landed at the 20. It's like most NFL guys, you squib it, it's probably going to land in 20. I think that's the next
iteration.
I think that's the next iteration. Like more kickers are going to start doing that, which is much better news than what I thought it was going to be, which was a touchback fest, and it was just going to look weird. Still looks weird.
Yep.
Still looks weird.
Still looks weird.
Still looks weird.
Still looks weird.
Especially, the touchbacks look really weird when nothing happens. It just looks like it's just awkward, kind of.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to move until the ball hits the ground in the landing zone or touches somebody. So whenever it's going out of the back of the end zone, you literally could just, all right, and just walk off the field. Did absolutely nothing. But everybody, that's like most of their reps. So they're like doing little swim moves and get off the field. Get off the field, please. There was a couple big-time returns. Bears ran a counter, too. You're not allowed to run completely across the field, but somebody comes and runs a nice C-line, boom, with a big-time block, freeing up a big-time Bears return. Obviously, down 17-zip. This would ignite a fire, potentially. Ran a little counter, little trap. How you doing? Keep it moving. Lead blocker setting away. Executed perfectly.
Clean. Yeah,
absolutely perfectly. There was a touchdown return by the Arizona Cardinals against the Buffalo Bills. Seemed like there was a lot of wind kicking this way. Both Prater and Bass were hitting it a little bit short. I don't know if they're trying to cover or if they were forcing to cover because of the weather. Whatever the case, Arizona Cardinals, he might go all the way. Wait, is Tyler Bass about to catch him? The kicker's got him. No! Touchdown! Dynamic kickoff is here to stay. The dynamic kickoff has made this much more exciting than it has been for the last 5 years. People aren't just going to go take a leak or turn off the TV whenever a kickoff happens. So I think the NFL is very excited about what happened there in week 1, and I think it only continues, hopefully. That's what I'm pulling for.
Yeah, and like that Cardinals one, like look at the game. It's 31-20. There's 8.5 minutes left. Like if you don't get a kick return like that, this game is probably over, but dynamic kickoff return, you score a touchdown, all of a sudden this is a completely different game. And it ended up coming down to it too, because the Bills got another field goal, but it was 34-28. Like that game was within reach till the very end because of the kick return.
And remember, the NFL would want us to say this: no more fair catches.
That's right. No.
So if it's in the landing zone, we gotta play.
You're going.
You gotta play.
Yeah,
you gotta play here. So it's almost like baseball. Where in baseball, it doesn't matter the score. You got to throw strikes to get the game over. Like that has to happen. You got to put it in play. If the ball is in play, got to run a play. And I like this, so you have to focus on it. Hopefully, they'll continue to grow that. Let's get to a break, shall we? On the other side, we got J.K. Dobbins.
Let's go.
Massive second half for the Chargers.
Huge.
Yeah. Massive second half.
Huge.
Good to see him back.
Yeah, won them the game.
Couple injuries. He was training, if you do remember, in the Achilles factory. We always heard him off camera. Now we'll get a chance to chat with him. Can't wait for that. Also, we got to break down some college football storylines, some more NFL chatter, and then look ahead to Monday Night Football and make our official picks. It's a glorious time to be alive. Overreaction Monday, September 9th. Hour 3 on the other side. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Take 5. Did you know you would be good in front office? Did you know that this was going to be something you would succeed at?
I didn't know I'd be good at it. I didn't even know I'd be doing it. It's an interesting story as to how I ended up here. I ask myself that often. Way back when I was a kid, I did love like the NFL draft. My dad used to pull me out of school. Out of half day, he'd come pick me up at lunch. We'd go watch the draft. So I loved that. Throughout my career, I'd pissed my wife off by not only watching round 1 through 3, but then watching round 7. And I'm filling out sheets. And I think the thing that probably piqued my interest, I was living in Denver after I got done playing there. I'd become friendly with Elway. We played some golf together and he looked out for me. We had the same high school coach. We went to Stanford, played football, baseball, same fraternity. That was like the poster on my wall. But Elway took the leap at the Broncos. And in his first year, he said, Johnny, I'm keeping a lot of the scouts, but I don't know them. I love the way you think about football. Could you watch the safeties this year and write some reports? And so I did that for him. Remember, it was the year of like Mark Barron and Harrison Smith. And I took a lot of pride in. I had no idea how scouts did things, but I just watched it like I would watch film, and I sat there at the computer and wrote some reports, and Elway was blown away with like the detail. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. The next year, he says, that was awesome, Johnny. Why don't you do the DBs? So I did the entire DBs. I added the corners. The next year, he invites me in for their draft process. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of time. I went to Indy. I went to the Combine with the Broncos that year. So that started piquing my interest. Long after that, there was a guy who ended up bidding for the Carolina Panthers, and he didn't get the team. Tepper got it. But there was another gentleman by the name of Ben Navarro, and I worked with his brother at Fox, and he one time asked if he could meet with me, and out of the blue asked me if I would run his team if he got the Panthers. And I said, really? Are you serious? And he asked me to kind of put together a vision statement for how I would run a team. And so I spent a couple weeks doing that. I met with him, and from that point forward, I kind of just said, if the right scenario ever came about, this might be something I want to do. I was missing like competition. I was missing scoreboard. I was missing the wins, the losses, all of that. Out of nowhere, something was keeping me up at night one year. I didn't even know what it was. And my wife said, something's on your mind. I know you when you're acting like this. You can't sleep. And I had done a bunch of Falcon games that year, and Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. It's the year they went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. And I heard something like Kyle Shanahan's going to get this Niners job, and that's the one he wants. But somebody said he's struggling to find a GM he wants to work with. And so something was on my mind. I had done a bunch of Kyle's games that year, and I gave him a cold call. And I just said, hey, dude, I want to thank you for all the time you've given me all year in these production meetings. I heard something that you're struggling to find a GM. And he goes, I am, man. It's killing me. I think I am going to take that Niners job. And he goes, why are you asking? And I said, well, consider me. I don't even know if I do it, but just think about that and see what you think. And his first question, he's like, dude, why would you do that? You got a great job. You got a great life. Like, why would you even consider doing that? I said, you go play your games. He did. He called back and he said, man, I can't stop thinking about what you said to me. Would you do that? And I want you to come meet this dude named Jed. Well, that dude named Jed was our owner here, Jed York. Came and met Jed. We flew cross country to Atlanta. I was offered the job on that flight. We meet with Kyle, and the whole thing's wrapped up. I hadn't even talked to my wife or family yet. It all moved kind of fast, and here we are 8 years later. So sorry for the long story.
No.
No.
I'm hoping we get 3 or 4 more of those. That was phenomenal. Hey, thank you for blessing us with that information. And also, shout out to you being somebody taking initiative and being like, you know what? Yeah, this is something I want. And diving right in and being prepared and knowing that you're.
Probably the most interesting trade was the Randy Moss trade. After the draft, the first day of the draft, we've been trying to trade for Randy Moss for 2 months. All like childbirth. I mean, it took forever. After the first day of the draft, I talked to Mr. Davis. I said, are we going to make this deal or not? And he said, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it for your 4th. And I think we were picking like 7th in the 4th round. I said, well, we got to get the guy in for a physical. We can't take his contract. We're going to have to renegotiate his contract. And Mr. Davis said, well, that's your problem. If you want to trade for him, then you get it done. I said, all right. I call up Randy. Hey, Randy, it's Coach Belichick. Boom. Hangs up the phone.
What?
Let me try this again. Randy, it's Coach Belichick. Who is this? Who's pranking me? Who is this? Boom. Hangs up the phone. Randy, this is Coach Belichick. We traded for you. What? Is this a joke? This better not be a joke. Who is this? No. This is, all right. Really? I said, yeah, but look, we got to get this done by tomorrow at noon. He goes, all right, what do I need to do? I said, you need to come up and take a physical, and we need to renegotiate your contract. It's by noon? Yeah. He goes, well, I'm in Houston now, but I got a plane. I'll be there.
Nice.
He flies, and he's there at 8 o'clock in the morning, comes in and takes the physical. You know, the old...
Yeah. Make sure he's alive.
Okay, you're good. Renegotiate the contract. We're done at 10 o'clock. And first thing he says to me is, where's the playbook?
Oh, that's awesome.
I said, right here. He said, okay, because when I walk out there with the first team with Brady, I got to know all the plays. I can't go out there and make mental errors and screw up. I got to know this offense. And he was smart, man. This guy was smart. On this post-safety coverage, what are you going to do? He goes, Coach, you ain't going to see any post-safety coverage against me. Like, he goes, you're going to see cover 2. We haven't seen cover 2 in years. He's like, you're going to see cover 2. And he was right. And then he would say, well, here's how I'd run this route. Here's how I'd run that route. And I started thinking, like, we got to start giving Randy some routes. We're running this, and they play cover 2. How we can move him into the slot. He's like, move me into the slot. I said, yes, you can get in the middle and cover 2. He's like, all right, good. 25 touchdowns.
So many.
Opens up the running game, too.
I'm telling you, it was... Randy, come on, man. I'm trying to...
Hey.
What?
Let's go.
This show stinks. And the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for it.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers. You ping! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this magical Overreaction Monday, September 9th, 2024. Hour 3 of the program starts now. Football! It's amazing. That's AJ Hawk right there. The Toxic Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the hammer, Dahn. Cowboys AP Tone is here. AP Tone now. It's a different time. It's a different season for you because you have an AP vote for the awards at the end of the season. Anybody stick out this weekend? Any defensive players maybe make a name or a case for Defensive Player of the Year?
Well, I did. I had to watch a little more intently yesterday with a different eye. Micah Parsons looked really good. Myles Garrett was still getting off the ball really quickly. Yeah, those guys look real good.
No, there's nobody else.
Anybody else? Maybe a couple corners, maybe?
You don't think?
Oh, yeah, there was a couple corners, couple Patriots corners that looked good. Christian Gonzalez looked good.
Okay.
No,
Maybe a guy playing in Atlanta yesterday?
Yeah,
nope, I can't comment on that.
What do you mean you can't comment on that? You just commented on a bunch of other players.
You did.
Yeah, but if I say TJ Watt's the best defensive player in the league, then I'm biased.
He's favored in the Steelers.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about.
He's doing
these
it.
awards.
He's doing it again.
This is the whoa. He just doubled down.
Son of a bitch.
What a game by TJ Watt.
The guys. He had 2 forced fumbles taken back. One because of a illegal hands to the face in the secondary. One because he got off the ball too quick.
And he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year last year, even though he led the NFL in sacks and everything. And people are like, well, it's not stats. And then you hear JJ talk on Wednesdays on our show, and he goes, well, if we're pointing to stats for reasons why, so it's not stats. So what is it? It's disruptions. Well, that's a stat. So what stats count? What stats don't count in this entire thing? TJ's like pissed, I assume, that he did not get Defensive Player of the Year. And then he knew what was happening on the offensive side of the ball in Pittsburgh, obviously, and how it's been. TJ took over that game. That was...
He played so angry all game, too. And was just in Kirk Cousins' lap all game. It was awesome.
Him yelling at the ref. That was
chewed his ass out.
Yeah, like him chewing out the ref. And kind of credit to the refs. They kind of let players both chirp at each other and, speak their mind when they didn't agree with calls.
Yeah, we should say shout out to the refs.
Yeah,
shout out to the refs.
Shout
Now,
out to the refs.
there's the illegal formation, obviously everybody's sick of, but it's clearly a message from the league.
Yes.
And it's clearly a decision that has been made by the officials and the league about, hey, first 2 weeks we're calling this, and then we're not dealing with this. We cover our ass that we tried to write it, and hopefully we will in this entire thing. But like Hussey, who was calling the Colts-Texans game, he was explaining to the crowd while they were booing him what they were doing. He was like, there was a conversation happening on the field about whether or not the ball was in or out before the clock was stopped. And then you hear the crowd that kind of stopped. And then he said, and we have determined that we need to put the play clock or the game clock at 15 seconds. They got his ass booed again. But I did appreciate like a little bit of an explanation like of what's going on. And then they did a overhead review, advanced whatever they're calling it. What are they calling it? Something review. It's like
accelerated.
No, yeah, but
where they just do it from above and just radio it down to them and say keep going.
Yeah, pick up the flag or move on. They did it last night, or Pereira maybe talked about how it took us 10 seconds to figure that out instead of going to a 2-minute break and doing this entire thing. Like, I think the refs are getting better. Hey, shout out to the refs. Let's go.
Going, refs.
Less flags, though. You know that. 9-year NFL vet, absolute stud. Darius J. Butler is here. D-Butch, love that we're in NFL season because we get a chance to chat with dudes that we haven't talked to in a while. Now, this man had an Achilles injury last year. He was at the Achilles factory, and everybody was wondering, how's he going to do? What's he going to do? He goes to the Los Angeles Chargers, wins the game for the Los Angeles Chargers over the Las Vegas Raiders in his first game there. Second half, he got all of his touches, all of his yards, ends up with a touchdown, even some receptions, over 135 yards rushing. Ladies and gentlemen, J.K. Dobbins.
Yay!
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Good to see y'all.
Hey, good to see you. How are you feeling? I know, like, anytime you go through an injury, it bums you out, and I know the Achilles factory was a good place to train, and you kind of had your team there. But how much better is life after rushing for 135 yards and a half, scored a touchdown, and getting a game ball, like Harbaugh's actual game ball, given to you in the middle of the locker room? How is this particular Monday for you, JK?
It's a good Monday. It's a good Monday, It's a good place to build off of. Yesterday, man, it was hot in the stadium. I should have scored on those runs that I had, man. That's all I'm thinking about. Since last night, I couldn't even sleep last night. I'm like, damn, I should have scored on them runs, man. So you got to get more in shape, though.
You still got to get more in shape? Okay, let's talk about that. What percentage are you think? Because Achilles is a very serious injury, obviously. Running back got to do a lot of moving and a lot of torque. How do you feel? What percentage are you at, you think?
Oh, I feel like I'm 100%. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta get back into game shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. You could train all you want. You could train. You could do all the running, all the weightlifting. But when you're in the game, that stuff is moving different. It's a different feel, And so yesterday, I figured out where I was at. Really where I was at, and now I know what I need to do. And I need to go I need to run 100 meters in practice every single day so I can. I need them to be crib, man.
I can't wait to see you next week and the week after and the week after. Let's talk about the head coach over there. Obviously, you go from one Harbaugh in Baltimore. Now you're with the other Harbaugh in L.A. What is Jim like? I've never played for a team that he coached. He might be the most hilarious human that I've ever seen from outside looking in. How is he as your head coach?
Man, it's as advertised, man. He's like, we're going to get that work in, right? We're going to get the work in. We're going to work hard. We're going to work really hard. But, man, it's like some of the stuff he says and does is so funny. It's like, it kills me. Like, I die laughing from it because he's, like, so genuine about something. But it's so funny just the way he says it, how it comes off. But he's a great coach, man. So is his brother, of course. But I love this guy. I'm glad I'm playing for him.
Yeah, whenever he gave you that game ball in the locker room that he was given, and then he said, I am going to need that back, though. While you were talking, you were giving your speech like, hey, offensive line, I couldn't have done this. I am going to need that ball back, though. Yeah, that's a big one for me, too. That was a funny moment. That was a funny give and take. Your speech was phenomenal, though. That was a cool speech out of you. Offensive line, quarterback, everybody, you deflected. It was great to see you. Go ahead, AJ.
JK, I'm curious with your Achilles rehab. Like, how long did it take until you actually felt 100%? And when you went out there for the game yesterday, do you feel fully confident, hey, I can plant my foot, I can make every cut, I can do everything? I'm just thinking of guys like Kirk Cousins coming off of his playing. Tonight we're going to see Aaron Rodgers come off his Achilles and play. Like, were you confident in that Achilles, the day you stepped on the field?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was confident in my Achilles at like 6.5 months. When I got to 6.5 months and I was running and I felt real poppy, felt explosive. I was strong, quick. I was working on my cuts and it felt like me. You know what I'm saying? I knew, like, first day of camp, I was like, all right, so I'm ready to go. So I knew this game coming up, or yesterday, I knew I was ready to go. So it was it's testimony to the work I put in. That's it.
Okay, so let's talk about that work. Tone has a question for you. He's an AP voter for awards.
Think about that.
He's voting for awards at the end of the year. We don't know how either, but it is a real thing. Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, JK, 3 straight years of season-ending injuries. Was there ever a point in time where you thought that maybe you weren't going to get another chance, that the NFL career wasn't going to work out for you? Did you always believe that this was going to be, that you were going to come back like this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was never in doubt about coming back. I knew I was gonna get a chance. You know what I'm saying? It was, the one injury, the knee injury I had, it lingered so long. So a lot of people, like, it kind of lingers so long that people think that I've had like a whole bunch of injuries, right? I really only had 2 major injuries, which is a lot, of course, the Achilles and the knee. But it's like, I'm like, man, look, I'm young, man. I'm 25. I ain't done yet, man. And, actually, you like the Steelers. My first game back from that scope. Yeah.
You were dragging that leg on that long run, though.
Yeah, you went for 80 with like 1.5 legs. You went for 80. It was a big run. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, I was dragging that thing, man. It was bro. There's a picture of it. I had like horns coming out of my knee because it was so, like, I came back so early from it. Like, I wanted to ball, man. I'm just trying to ball. I ain't trying to sit on the sideline. And just the unfortunate injuries, they sat me down. But I think those are over with now. I think it's time for the world to see, like, who I really am as a player.
Hell yeah. What a mindset. We can't wait to watch. Yeah, here's the picture of your knees. Here's the picture. Maybe a little early. Maybe came back a little early.
You get those shaved off or something? Like, you take care of that? How's that work?
Yeah.
Nah, they just kind of went away. Like, I think that was like fluid in it because all I did was I got scoped, right? I got scoped in those areas. There's a bunch of scar tissue in those areas right there. So I guess the fluid just like was like pushing all the way out. Like I never, like, when I first saw that, when it started happening, I was like, man, what is going on? Like, is this gonna be like this forever? I'm like, man, I got horns on my knee, man. I got horns on my knee. I've never seen nothing like that before in my life.
Me either.
Hey Doc, is this forever?
Yeah.
Is this how I'm going to be in public? This knee? Is this how this is going? Nobody's ever had this issue. That is wild. So you just came back a little early there. I think we'd all agree. That's the looking back on it.
Yes, man. I look back on it, I'm like, damn, I look terrible. Like, I look terrible on these long runs. I'm not proud. I look terrible. I was like, but I just wanted the ball, man. That's it.
Okay, so last night you said you stayed up because you thought you should have taken more and you need to get in better game shape and do this whole thing. Had to be pretty gratifying, though, yeah? After you get in there, second half, and it all starts working?
Yeah, a little bit. I was proud about that part a little bit, but man, I'm still thinking about it. Like,
okay,
I'm thinking about the next day of practice right now. Like, I know exactly. I got in my mind what I'm gonna do, so I can be ready for those moments. So I can, instead of 135, let's put it 150, 160. Okay. You know?
Okay. Herbert would love that. I mean, that is something he would certainly love. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah. Speaking of Herbert, obviously, JK, your personality's awesome. It's very fucking infectious. That's pretty evident. Anytime someone talks about Justin Herbert, though, it's like, hey, he's really relaxed. He's, this West Coast dude who's kind of not too high, not too low. But then we've seen him a little bit when it's game time. He gets, pretty intense and pretty in the zone. What is he like on a day-to-day basis, and what's it been like being around him? Because it seems like, from a personality standpoint, you guys are pretty different.
Yeah, man. So, like, you looking in from the outside before I ever met him, it's like, man, I think this guy's gonna be kind of dorky. I think he's gonna be, I didn't know what to expect, but knowing him now and playing with him and just growing with him, man, this dude's a dude, man. Like, he got a little bit of personality. He just don't show it as often, you know what I'm saying? And he's a special talent, man. And he's a leader, too. He's a leader, man. He can be vocal. He can be really vocal, and like you say, he's a gamer. He's a gamer. I remember, forget what game it was. I think it was against the Raiders maybe a couple years ago. He's like, I was in. I don't know if you guys remember that. But that just, when I saw that, I was like, man, okay, this dude, he's a gamer. He might be like, his personality not as bright, or I wouldn't say that. That's the wrong word to use for that. Not as outgoing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Type A. Yeah, we get it. Yeah. And what's that called?
More reserved.
Not an extrovert.
Extrovert. He's more of an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you say he's not that bright. You say he's dumb as shit.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's what J.K.
No, he won an academic Heisman.
Okay.
Academic Heisman. This guy's a genius.
I was never up for that. So he seems like the perfect guy. But him and Harbaugh feel like a good match for each other because Jim obviously is himself. In this moment before the game,
right here.
Herbert didn't know the new pregame routine because he was going to get his ass beat by Coach Harbaugh. I don't think he knew that. All right, okay, yep. He goes in for the hug early. All right, we're out of here. Yep, no.
Okay.
Let's do this.
All right, nope. Okay, I'm out of here. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Love it.
Turn around.
Okay, and needs back too. Remember, waking them up. He do this to you too at halftime or no? Coach do this to you at halftime?
Hey, man, I got tears about to come out of my eyes from that. man, that's who Coach Jim is, man. He gonna get you right. He loves Justin too, man. So he gonna get him right, man. And I love that, man. I didn't see it in person, but when I saw it, when I just see that, like, he goes in for the hug. He's still like, let's go, man.
He's going to walk away. He's going to walk away. He's like, hold on. Yeah, right. Turn around. You're going to get a couple of those today. Then he's got gloves on, obviously, in warm-ups. He's got the Jordan cleats on.
Ready, always.
Fully.
Chawed up.
Full right here. And then he's just catching the ball. He's just a different animal.
He is.
Man, what a weapon. And JK.
Different.
It feels like you're all bought in, though, right? I mean, it happens everywhere he goes. When he was at San Fran, obviously, he goes to the Super Bowl. He goes to Michigan. They win a national championship. They beat Ohio State 3 straight times, including in Columbus.
Yeah.
In Columbus.
We're not gonna get into that because I love him. That's my coach right now. But as an Ohio State person, I don't think those games will count.
Whoa!
But we're not. But look, I love Coach. He is a great coach. He is a winner. But he had a person on the staff that those games might count.
Okay. All right. Obviously, the investigation shall continue up there, but feels like everywhere he goes, everybody buys in. More so, one particular person on the staff bought in more.
Way too much.
Way too much, seemingly, that you are. you are referencing to there. But yeah, it does feel like he has an ability to bring everybody together. What is it about him? Just because how transparent he is, how authentic he is, and is it everybody? Like everybody on the team is bought into this guy. It feels like happens quickly.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're right about that, man. He's so authentic and he's so real, and like you say, he got the gloves on in the game, and man, I remember it was like we were at like the second day of camp. We're doing our little fourth quarter finisher, and he takes his shirt off, man. He takes his shirt off. He lifting, working out, man. Like really serious though. He really getting it in. And it's just like me seeing that in person. I'm like, man, I love this guy. I will go to war for him. You know what I'm saying? And we know he means well by us, man. And we gonna get the work in, but he gonna take care of us as well. So we love him over here.
Man, he's in a weight room. This isn't a gimmick. He's fucking trying to. Yeah, he's trying to set a PR right now.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Harbaugh is trying to set a PR right now, and we're happy to witness it. What's today's schedule? What is today's schedule? What do we have today?
We're off today, so I'm getting a little treatment today, get my body right, get ready for the next week so I can perform again.
D-Buck got one last question for you there.
Yeah, we talking about Jim staying ready with the gloves and the cleats on. As a player who got, you got your number called obviously late in the game, I played a chunk of my career where I was a sub player as a nickel. So sometimes I play 80, 90% of the snaps. Other games it may be 50% of the snaps. How do you kind of stay locked in? I know running backs a lot of times, hey, I want to get a rhythm going, I want to get a feel. How do you stay locked in, I guess, not really knowing exactly when your touches may come?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of hard to answer for me because of who I am. But you know what I'm saying? I just stay locked in because I know I'm one of those guys, right? I know when my number's called, I'm ready. I know I'm one of the best in this league when I'm healthy. You guys see it, the numbers, the film don't lie. None of that stuff lies. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. Mm-hmm. And so no matter what, all the adversity, the injuries, I only got I'm just trying to win the game, but I only got 2 carries in the first half or something like that. So whenever my numbers call, I'm ready to go because I do believe I'm one of those guys. All right. So whenever my numbers call, I'm ready. I'm in my mind. I'm like, when you give me the ball, I'm gonna show you why you should give me the ball more. That's my mentality, right? And so that's just how it went. Second half, they called my number. I'm ready to go. I'm always gonna be ready to go. And so, hopefully, whatever it is to do, whatever I need to do to help the team win, that's what I'm gonna do. If that's not having carries in the first half and then getting it in the second half, let's do it. If we're gonna win the game. But when we're losing, I do think I can help. When we're losing, I'm smart.
Obviously, your mindset.
I'm pretty smart.
Yeah, your mindset is insane right there. Just standing on the sideline, just like, yep, whenever I get the ball, I'm going to go bananas.
You'll see.
Not worried about how tight you are. Not worried about how tight you are. Not being able to get into a flow, feel a hit, after the injury. Nothing like that. As soon as I get this fucking ball, it's over. Just for standing there the whole time. What a mindset. Well, good luck.
Hey, that's what I'm thinking right now. You said it right.
One of the ones.
That's awesome. All right, good luck the rest of the time. Thank you so much for spending a part of your Monday with us, and good luck this season, brother.
Hey, thank you, man. It's good to see y'all, man. Good to talk to y'all. My fellow Buckeye.
Yes, sir.
I see you again.
How you feel about this year, man? You think the offense is pretty good, huh?
Yeah, man. I think this might be the year. We bring it back home. This might be the year.
Really?
It better be.
Wow.
Texas is pretty good.
20 million.
Yeah.
Texas is really. Georgia is real good.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Ole Miss.
Georgia is good. Georgia's good.
Yeah.
And I'm from Texas. So I like the horns at heart. You know what I'm saying? But I'm Buckeye through and through.
Oh,
I'm Buckeye. I.O., you know it.
All right. Have a great season. I wish I could have been your teammate one time, but we're lucky you joined us. We'll talk to you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, running back for the Los Angeles Chargers, J.K. Dobbin.
Hey.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, they're going to go with him.
You can see how he's a great teammate, huh? You can see how he has a great positive influence on people around.
Fun to be around.
Just stand on the sideline. Hey, how you guys doing? Pretty good, yeah. As soon as I get the ball, I'm going to fucking take over.
Probably perfect for the Achilles factory, too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing vibes up.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
Every day. I'm only 25. Everybody talking about, I'm only 25.
Yeah.
I got a lot of ball left. This is only getting started.
Aaron was rehabbing with this dude. He might throw for 470 yards.
I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
Aaron's thinking to himself, I can't wait to throw for fucking 700 yards.
Yeah.
What's the most in the history of a Monday Night Football? Because he's got J.K. Dobbin's like, these motherfuckers don't know about us all day, every day. What a mindset. What a mentality, that guy.
Probably told him, too, like, hey, I had 10 carries and I ran for 140 yards and a touchdown, so you kind of have to show up for us.
Yeah, exactly. The Achilles Factory. Netflix just released a teaser to an Aaron Rodgers documentary, I do believe. The doctor of the Achilles Factory, Dr. Elatrosh, who is very cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a cool vibe. Kind of radiates from it.
He is suave.
He had a vest on.
He did. Sweet
sport
vest.
coat.
Yeah.
Open top though.
Yeah.
No tie.
His look.
Sweet flow.
Yeah.
Like regal, kind of.
Yeah, it was.
He looks like a movie. He looks like who you would cast in a movie to play him. Like if you had a doctor that operated on all those people, that's who you would cast. A guy who looks like him.
Bingo. Absolute stud.
Yeah.
He is. He's in the documentary talking about how some of these guys they think that their body's anatomy is different than everybody else's, so that can be a little dangerous. He said sometimes, but if you channel that in the right direction, you can really get some good results. That's just from the teaser. I couldn't even fathom what the rest of this documentary looks like. That's going to be in Netflix. Amen.
It's true. I mean, some people got Wolverine blood.
Yep.
Others don't.
Wolverine blood, full pads, not playing.
Yeah.
Sideline. Love
ready.
that.
Well, emergency.
Let's
Inactive, right?
No,
Was
he's
he
an
inactive?
emergency quarterback.
He's emergency. He's emergency.
Are you sure?
You could be inactive and the emergency quarterback.
Okay.
I thought they said that rule's not real anymore.
D-Bud,
For everybody else.
What I send you this morning?
Not.
Not Russell Wilson.
No.
That son of God? Hell no.
Mr. Unlimited, I guess, does have unlimited potential.
Yeah. Plays by his own rules.
And he might actually wore that entire uniform for the entire trip.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I blacked too.
I heard he was a little pouty after the game. Tell you what, you get pouty, you get sent out of town, okay?
What do you mean he was pouty?
He's pouty.
He was pouty.
Said AP Tone said that?
I don't believe that.
He had pads on for 72 straight hours. You'd be a little pouty, too.
Heard he was a little pouty.
I like the...
Last guy that was pouty got sent out of town, so watch it.
Who said he's pouty?
Who's your source?
No, he said he's pouty.
Source? Didn't our coworker say that?
Who?
Kaboli said he was pouty.
Oh, now he's our co-worker?
He's correspondent for the program.
I did it with
first one
Please
there,
call
too.
him. Please call him.
He
Yeah.
would know.
First one there.
Probably last one out, too.
I told him, I said, hey, our show doesn't get this type of access. Our name was on there, like Mark Kaboli, Pat McAfee Show, media credential. It was like crazy. And the thing, Mark Kaboli said, I'm honored to be here. I'm going to get here first. I'm going to test out their breakfast spread.
Yeah.
I'm going to try their lunch spread. And I'm going to stick around until I get the dinner spread as well. And I'm going to piece together the best 2,000-word tweet in the history of X on fucking Arthur Smith, deserving a little bit more credit. And he crushed it.
He did.
He absolutely, mission accomplished Kaboli, I think is what we need to start calling him.
Yeah, but they're going to take away those credentials if he's writing. Russell Wilson needs to stop fucking potting. Everyone can see.
He said that? Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, correspondent for our show, boots on the ground for the Pittsburgh Steelers, also a contributor to WWE.com and WWE Digital. Ladies and gentlemen, the legend that is Mark Kaboli.
Kaboli.
Good morning, Kaboli.
What's up?
Good morning.
I put my hat on. I didn't comb my hair yet.
Under Armour,
You look great.
You don't comb your hair.
The hat looks good, matches the outfit, and the hair looked phenomenal, to be honest. Kaboli, great work getting to the stadium first.
Yep.
Representing for the show. Representing for the
Big
show.
balls.
We appreciate you representing the program over there, and thank you for continuing to crush it on your X account and on WWE.com. Tone Diggs, AP Tone, a man who's voting for the AP Awards at the end of the season, somehow one of 50 people in America that'll be doing as such. He said that you reported that Russell Wilson was potting after the game. He was potting after the game? No, that's not real. Is that real? He was potting? He had potty face?
Well, in terms of Russell Wilson, it's considered a potting so because he's so positive about absolutely everything in the locker room. It was
tired.
Perspective here.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the locker room. He didn't look like a happy-go-lucky type of individual.
Oh, so he was potting.
He wasn't potting.
Sounds like
After a win?
Kaboli.
That's bad. That's bad.
Tell him what happened to the last guy that was potting, Kaboli.
He
What
wasn't
happened?
potting. He was just a little bit more reserved. It was Justin Fields' time. He wanted,
It's just
First win of the year. JF.
yeah.
He
He's
was
injured.
He was injured.
I know, but still.
He was in pads.
Bad
He was in pads.
vibes, Wilson. He was patting.
He wasn't potting. Maybe he was just trying to let Justin Fields have his time. Do you think that was the case?
I just don't think he was happy that he didn't play. I think he thought he was going to play.
He's patting.
Shefty said he was pushing to play, too.
Oh, no. He's
Medical
So there's no
staff said
doctors
no.
out there, Kaboli. But there's no doctors,
I
so
think-
did they not ever think he was going to play?
I don't think so. I mean, all during pregame,
Whoa.
there was no chance in the world he was playing. There was not a doctor or trainer in sight during him testing his
But he's
calf
full
at all.
pads.
So what was he
That decision
doing?
was done early.
Why is he in full pads, Kaboli? What's going on?
Not only that, well, he's the third quarterback, but my favorite was he had
Third.
the eye black on too.
Of course.
Very, very
Yeah, in
good.
case he goes in.
Yeah, you don't fucking have
It's like that warm-up he did in Pittsburgh when he was with the Seahawks,
Yeah,
right?
when he was visualizing the
Yeah.
entire thing, he didn't have the pads on there. That was during the COVID era. So he wasn't healthy enough to start, but he would have been healthy enough to go in. If two quarterbacks get injured, they would throw him in there. I don't think I fully comprehend.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That happened to probably 8 to 10 years ago with Roethlisberger. He was deemed the number 2 quarterback, and I think Landry Jones got hurt the first series, maybe against the Browns, and he came in and threw for 400. So it's happened before, but you would figure if he was healthy enough to be the number 3 that he would be able to play, but it was out of his hands.
He's done.
All right, Kaboli.
That's all she wrote.
How are the vibes? Vibes are high. Steelers won, right? All of Pittsburgh's happy?
Well, Pittsburgh's never happy. Are you crazy?
What are we talking
They're
about?
never happy.
You're number
They're
1 in the
upset
AFC North.
They're upset about the punter. The punter is very, very concerning.
He's a very good punter, and that looked bad. And they already ruled him out for the season. Chris Boswell goes in and has a beautiful 43-yard punt, goes 6 for 6. He's the MVP of the season thus far.
Yeah,
The number 1 team in the AFC North, Chris Boswell, is the the MVP. Here he is punting, and a lot of people say, "Well, you're a kicker, you should be able to punt." Well, Boswell is able to there. Obviously, the intricacies of punting, not bad. 43 yards, good coverage, no return. I mean, a 43-yard net. I mean, phenomenal job.
Look at the score. Look at the time.
15-10, fourth quarter, late touchdown changes the game. It's a 1-score game. Got to get him on the other side of the 50 at least. Have to. Can't have him on this side of the 50 at this particular time. Boswell goes out and operates. He's an absolute dog. I mean, that is a matter of fact. But they are going to have to find a good punter because that has been a situation with the Steelers, right? You got great defense. If you had a great punter alongside of it, you guys would take it to another level. Cam was that in preseason and for his entire time in Houston.
Yeah, he was so good in Houston. He was top 5 in basically every single category. I know Press Harvin's out there now. People didn't love him in Pittsburgh, but good
preseason.
He did have a great preseason. I don't know if mentally he would want to come back to Pittsburgh, but yeah, we got to find somebody.
Kaboli, why don't you punt?
Did you get a call yet, Pat?
Kaboli, I couldn't pass any of those tests.
In the middle of the locker room, while Russell was pouting.
Wow.
Confirmed.
Put on kicker. Confirmed.
I don't believe him.
He's our correspondent. He's our correspondent. We have to believe him.
No, Kaboli, we don't have to.
Yes, we do.
We can conflict with our correspondent.
Let me get to the point here. In the middle of the locker room, everybody's celebrating. I just hear somebody yell my name. Hey, Mark. I'm like, what? It's Danny Smith. Tell damn Pat to get his ass over here. We need him.
Okay. All right, Danny Smith.
Well, I don't think you got enough money under the cap there, so you might have to look somewhere else.
Thank you for doing early negotiations for me, Kaboli. I do appreciate you setting that precedent. Danny Smith, Steelers special teams coordinator, legend, a lot of gum.
Yeah.
Always a lot of gum. Been around there. Is a Yinzer, is a special teams coordinator for the Steelers, legend. I wouldn't be able to pass any of the tests, but I think if he signed me on Friday, they wouldn't be able to get the results of the test back until Tuesday. Or Monday. So I might be able to play.
Squeeze the game in.
They test me on Saturday.
Then they can cut you on Tuesday.
Well, then once I get back in it, I'm back.
I didn't know they tested anybody anymore.
What's that?
I didn't think they tested anybody anymore.
What? Kaboli, what you're saying? These guys aren't just the cleanest athletes on earth in the NFL right now? You're saying they're just not testing? They're turning a blind eye? I don't know.
That was a CBA thing where they just turn the other cheek now.
Well, that's what they want to see whenever you got to go pants all the way to ankles in front of those guys. That's
so much.
It's a lot.
You get some
chest to nip, hair to nip.
When you did that, did you ever get any stage fright?
No, to be honest, I had 200. How many was it? Here's Danny Smith right here chewing 10 pieces of gum. That is special teams coordinator. Yep, and a spit.
Great spit.
Absolute dog. Absolute dog. Absolute dog.
Right in the middle of the locker room, everybody stopped and just stared at me.
Yeah.
Well, when he said he needed you to come over and punt.
And what did Russell Wilson say? He smiled at me. He said that was fun. That'd be fun.
After this, and he might not be looking at me anytime soon.
Yeah, geez. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Pittsburgh Steelers correspondent for the program, WWE contributor, Mark Kaboli. Say he's potting.
He was pouting.
I don't lie.
Yeah, but I don't like what you said there.
What?
We have to believe him because he's our correspondent.
I have to. I'm everything he says about the Steelers to me is gospel. When I read those X articles that he writes, everything that he says, I take full, hey, that's what's going on over there.
Okay, obviously we all read all of Kaboli's articles before hiring him to work for us.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And we definitely did that.
Every day.
Always knew what Kaboli writing was all about.
Yeah.
We did that. AJ, right? Didn't we?
Always. It was part of the pre-show routine.
D-Butt?
Every word.
Yep. Somebody would preach it aloud to group every day, like a sermon, if you will. But let's say maybe not everyone maybe some slipped through the cracks.
Okay.
And we didn't know a lot of the writing. He puts words together.
He does. Great journalist.
Guy's a wordsmith.
He's good at it.
Journalistic standards through the roof.
Makes sense. He's been doing it for that long.
20 plus years covering the Steelers.
I guess.
The one this morning.
I would
Did that go out last night or this morning? It was
I
good.
would say.
It was long. He put it out last night. You got D-Bone making them graphics, too. D-Bone's really hitting it out of the park with that entire thing. All right, let's wrap up this glorious Overreaction Monday. D-Bone wore size 14 work boots to the game yesterday.
He's a big dude.
Yeah,
He's
I
a
couldn't
big boy.
fucking see
He's
the
a
game
big boy. He's got a large head. He's
Sitting in the front row. Sitting in the front row to suite. Then you got Tyrese Halliburton, 6'5", sitting there. There was a couple obstacles to watch the game. It was good vibes down there.
Great.
Hey, Lucas Oil was very loud. That was the loud house.
Yeah, actually, for that 3rd and 11, where it was the 2-minute warning leading up to that play, it was
felt like a real stadium.
It was a real stadium. It was fucking jumping.
It is. It's the loud house.
Yeah. Well, the best thing they
Steelers
did,
coming to town. You need to watch it. You better watch that.
Couple weeks.
Best thing they did actually to get the crowd going, they did right before the offense went out there. So they got the crowd going great, and then everyone had to shut the fuck up.
No, they were just testing if it would work. It was a gopher going, "Ayo!"
Oh, I love that.
Dude, it was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was so sick. All right.
His gopher even had like little personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had this gopher, like 8K gopher on this LED board. It's huge, up on a hill. And he goes, "Ayo!" And then
whole crowd.
Immediate response. Yeah. I mean, didn't even have no introduction needed. Gopher pops up on screen, "Ayo!" And then everybody follows. That whole thing.
Yep.
Everybody hits it. And then and then Anthony Richardson and Ryan Kelly are like,
and it said,
"We got the ball.
Yeah, be quiet.
Be quiet."
Yeah.
But that's a good addition. That was a great addition.
Great addition. Just need to figure out when to do.
They had some highlight tapes with some sick songs. That was a good addition. The horsepower.
People were revving it up.
The horsepower is a real deal. They take it off in the fourth quarter. Did you see that? They went to the bells in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they need to stop that.
Third down horsepower, first 3 quarters. Real loud. So about 15 seconds obviously left, and then it's off and everybody's yelling. Fourth quarter, they go to the bells for third down.
Wasn't that because Jim plays Hell's Bells on his guitar every third down? Or is that
during a game?
Yeah.
They switched one of the other songs too.
What's that, buddy?
They switched one of the other songs too.
Which one?
Remember, it went one song into the next song. The second song didn't play.
Remember?
I forget which one.
Yeah, we just stuck with the.
Yeah, there was another song after that.
Yeah, they just played that all the way through,
Yeah.
which I think at the time, because the Colts were making quite a run, it did hit. It hit very hard.
Did you guys all do the cool dance?
Oh, yeah. Bushwhackers? The whole place.
It's awesome.
Whole place is doing it. It's actually like a pretty sweet little. Now, we're going to have to win these games, which I have faith.
We will.
I have faith. I do have faith with this team.
Got a nice little break for week 2.
Who?
Jordan Love's out.
Yeah, Malik Willis. Be on the lookout.
Uh-oh.
Hey, he might light it up.
The floor's
On
open.
that note,
He might.
ladies and gentlemen, this morning I put out a tweet and said it is another glorious Overreaction Monday, and we wanted to hear from the people. So we said, all you got to use is the hashtag I don't want to overreact, but became #1 trend on X this morning, and we can't thank everybody enough for interacting with us and making our lives much better and our show certainly better. Ty Schmidt won through them all, but first, let's hear from the boys in their overreaction tweets. Here's from Ty Schmidt. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but if you're losing your mind about your team this morning, just know that it could be worse. You could be a Panthers fan, and if you're a Panthers fan, may God have mercy on your souls down there in the Queen City. Amen. I mean, I don't think that's really an overreaction either, Ty.
No, I mean, my quarterback, damn near had to have his leg amputated. So I was kind of down in the dumps all day. And then you watch the Panthers play, and it's like, well, that team has no hope. None whatsoever. And you got a second-year quarterback who you drafted #1 overall, who's supposed to be the guy. Hate to break to you, he's not the guy.
Whoa!
He's not going to be the guy.
Whoa!
You got a new head coach, and like you said, now the clock starts. Tepper's going to come in there, and guess what? We need to win now, or your fucking ass is gone. I mean, getting beat, it's like you get so excited to watch the season. and then your team gets beat by 50 week 1. Do you even want to watch next week? Probably
don't
not.
know.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
All right, so non-overreaction, you're saying?
I don't know. I mean, there's an overreaction that may be coming later. For some Panthers fans, they're still not happy.
All right, let's go to Darius J. Butler. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but we might only have like 5 good quarterbacks in the league this year. If you have a decent one, hold on. What are you saying, D-Butch?
I mean, the quarterback play kind of stunk week 1. Looked bad, and now you see in the offseason all these guys getting $50 million, $55 million, $60 million. Like, why are you paying that guy? Why don't we go and draft somebody? Why don't we do this? Now you see why. When you see everybody trot out their quarterback, you see how many suck, how many stink. You better hold on to one, even if you got a okay one.
Non-overreaction or just a
No,
reaction?
not overreaction.
Just a standard reaction?
Standard reaction.
All right, let's go to Boston Connor. He never overreacts to anything. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but the Patriots are making the playoffs in Mayo's first season. The defense is top 5 in the entire NFL. Jacoby Brissett only makes good decisions, and the O-line has figured it out. Patriots are the 2024 version of the 2023 Houston Texans. Look out when May starts playing because the Patriots are fucking back, baby. Connor, non-overreaction or just standard reaction right now?
Some of it might be an overreaction, but absolutely not. It's not an overreaction. Defense is definitely top 5. The O-line is on their way to figuring it out, and there's a large chance that they do become the 2023 Houston Texans of this NFL season because if May does play when he takes the reins and they're maybe 3-3, maybe 2-4, then yeah, we're talking about a situation where similar to the Packers, where they start off a little 2-6 like last year, and then they go on a massive run, figure it out towards the end of the season, and they roll into the offseason with maybe 1, 2, 3 playoff wins.
Yeah, but what if you guys just win?
If we
all the way through, what do you do if Jacoby's just winning? What do you do?
Then it is the ultimate perfect situation. Then we have what D-Butt was just saying, where we have one of those decent quarterbacks and a bridge quarterback in Jacoby. Drake May gets an entire year to learn how to play winning football because if he is not playing, then he's watching a guy who's winning games, which Jacoby has already done. And also when we're just thinking about what the big problem is with the Patriots, like look at Ayuk, look at Calvin Ridley. Hey, we don't want to go play at a place that stinks. If we just win enough games where we can be an appealing franchise for some of these guys in the offseason, it's like hold the fucking phone. We are actually back, and we don't have to watch these terrible games anymore.
Let's go to the next one from Bubba Gumpino. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but the Bills have handed the Chiefs and Texans 2 tuds each. 1 week into the season. What do you mean by this, Gumpy?
Xavier Worthy, they gave him that draft pick, and then Stephon Diggs went for 2 yesterday. They traded him. So maybe trade somebody to the fucking NFC, Bills.
Amen. Come on!
But yeah, no, you're doing great.
They did score 34.
Yeah, hey, Bills get a big time win. Josh Allen takes that game over.
Yeah.
Josh Allen decides I'm going to win this game.
It's the Cardinals.
Cardinals are good. They're a good team.
They might make the playoffs.
See what happens Thursday night.
Marvin Harrison.
Jeez, they're good for Bills. I like what Josh Allen did. He just kind of flipped the switch. I guess there was a picture floating around the internet, and I didn't get to see the All-22 from NFL Pro and NFL Plus Premium, whether it was true or not. I guess Marvin Harrison was wide open. If Kyler would have got him or found him, they win.
The All-22, the guy was like leaping in the air.
Yeah.
Like it would have had to been like it would have been a very
impossible
tough pass
throw
to complete.
Got it. It's easy to say, like, hey, look, there's nobody around this guy. It's like, well, there's a lot of people around that guy who potentially has the ball. Nonetheless, I like where the Cardinals are headed and where they are. And obviously, Marv is going to be an incredible player. Thanks for watching. No problem. And let's go to the next overreaction here from Nick Moraldo at Frankie Skates. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but Bosch should be the week 1 offensive, defensive, and special teams player of the week. Maybe of the month. 6 of 6 on field goals in this absolute beaut of a punt with 3 minutes left. 43-yarder, no return. Obviously had to have a big one. Why not pause offense, defense, and special teams player of the week? Never been done before, Nick. I'd love to see it.
He deserves it. We talked about it earlier. I mean, he was the entire offense that game. He pinned them deep with that punt, gave the defense a chance to get back on the field and see the victory. It's all about Boz. It always has been.
Let's go to Zito. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but yesterday was the Bears' first win with under 150 yards of total offense since December 3rd, 2006. Last quarterback was Rex Grossman. They went to the Super Bowl that year. We're going to the Super Bowl, says Zito. I mean, that makes sense, Zito, if you don't think about it. How do you feel about the Bears?
I feel really good. Defense is very, 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 very good. And last time, I believe I saw a stat, was literally the last 2 times or 3 times that team has came back from 17, it was literally the 2 teams of the Bears to do
Okay, well, congrats to the Chicago Bears getting a big-time dub. Obviously, the way that went down for the Titans, nobody's really going to write novels about how to play football.
Boy.
I mean, that thing really went the opposite direction. They were saying earlier, the boys were saying earlier, and you never know what's real, what's not. They were like, I saw some stats versus on the internet say that they could have actually just kneeled it out every play in the second half. punted the ball back and they would have won.
Probably.
And I'm like, well, if you look at the inefficiency of that Chicago Bears offense, I think the last thing you need to do is just turn the ball over. I think that is literally the message at all. Hey, we are not turning the ball over here. So for that one to happen the way that it did, it's like, whoa, hopefully they'll learn from that. Now, in the AFC South, if Will has a couple more learning games, seasons, years, careers, that'd be okay. Yeah. But there were some moments there where Will Levis was balling.
He was running wild.
He was running, he was throwing, he was spinning it. It was like then in the second half, everything just changed.
Tony Pollard, too, by the way.
What's that?
On the ground,
Tony Pollard was fucking running.
Yeah, and Callahan's there, the offensive line coach. I mean, it's like they have a chance to do this entire thing. They got to be sick to their stomachs that they didn't get that win in Chicago. Legitimately. They got to be sick. And if you're Chicago, it's like, we played horrendous on offense, and we still win the game. They got to feel great up there, AJ.
Yeah, Flus has got to love it. And it's like Zeke said, their defense is fun to watch. Like, they really are. And I think if you're a Chicago fan, too, they're like, their offense is going to improve. They're going to play much better than they did week one.
That's not what people were saying today.
What are you saying?
A lot of people, and I didn't put it in there because I'm not just going to cherry pick being a Packers fan and find all the bad stuff about the Bears and put it in here. A lot of people saying, oh boy, we drafted Rex Grossman. It's funny Zito should say that because he looks like Rex Grossman. He looks like Kyle.
Rookie quarterback.
I saw a lot of Seneca Wallace.
Well,
Great player.
rookie quarterback. He's going to develop,
Almost
obviously.
right now, too. He would never turn that ball over.
No, he doesn't get nervous.
Maybe he was nervous for the first time since high school. All right. First NFL game, so we'll see week
They'll
2.
figure it out. They'll get it together. I appreciate the way they handled it in the locker room afterwards. Eberflus and I forget on defensive side. Kevin Byard was like, hey, there's going to be a game where you guys lift us up, too. That was like Eberflus's entire message was like, yeah, sometimes, one side of the ball is not going to show up at all.
Yeah.
Like almost holding back. But that's why we're a team. One lifts the other. It was a good message. It was a good narrative. Rookie quarterback, they're going to go through some ebbs and flows. Seems to be a little bit of an ebb. We'll see if they get into a flow. Let's get to some people's overreaction tweets. Here's from Hunter Lion 47. Hunter, that's trademarked.
Yep.
Don't even fucking think about it.
Nope. You're dead.
Hunter's got it. He will sue your ass.
In a heartbeat.
Put that TM on that thing. That means I own it. You don't.
Smart.
Hunter Lyon 47 is a businessman. Hashtag I don't want to overreact. But old Sam Darnold is going to lead the Vikings to the playoffs. Been on bad teams with no weapons his whole career. Having KOC as his coach and the weapons Minnesota does is going to lead to a career resurgence like Geno and Baker the last few years. Hunter Lyon loving what he's seeing, AJ Hawk. I think Kevin O'Connell was like a quarterback whisperer at this point. But Sam Darnold looked good. He looked like discipline. Everything looked like it made sense. That's a huge deal if they can get Sam Darnold going like that.
I don't know if you guys saw, and he did a post-game interview on the field, too. He looks like physically different. He looks like lean. He looks like he's jacked, and he looks leaner. His face looks different. I know D-But's done some study on Sam Darnold, and I know in the past. But I think, with the right situation, Sam Darnold can absolutely be a guy.
I like the mention of Geno and Baker because obviously both of them have had immense success at their third, fourth stops in this entire thing. Sam Darnold knows that this could be it, right? And he also knows this is a great situation. J.J. McCarthy, who is going to be the guy that ends up taking your spot, now it's your team. It's your year. And you got the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL out there, Justin Jefferson, and a bunch of weapons. It's like, let's go. I'm excited to see Sam take advantage of this opportunity.
You never want to see somebody get hurt, especially before their career gets started. But that probably kind of took a little pressure off of him being that, quote-unquote bridge quarterback, similar to what they think Brissett is in New England. But KOC, you said him QB whisperer. He put him in some great situations. And when you have a passing game built around a weapon like Justin Jefferson, you just heard Bill talk about it. It's going to start with 18. He's going to be the player or a decoy. And he took advantage of all the opportunities the Giants gave him yesterday.
Yeah, I think so. I love
Aaron
watching.
Jones looked good, too.
Aaron Jones is going to be a great addition for them. Sam's got a live arm.
He does. He throws a pretty ball.
He's got live. He spins that. Hey, that boy can spin that.
Well,
I know.
What?
He throws a pretty ball.
You don't think he throws a pretty ball?
I mean, look.
Doesn't always go to the right team.
If we're just thinking about teams here, we're talking a lot about the Panthers. We can throw the Giants right next to the Panthers. Okay.
No. Might be in there.
Okay. And let's wait and see where the Vikings end up as far as where they fall. I'm pumped. Day one. Week 1. I'm rooting for KOC. Friend of the program. Justin Jefferson, friend of the program. Aaron Jones, friend of the program. I want them to win. Let's just fucking hold on.
Well, it's Overreaction Monday. We can't do that. And congrats to KOC. Absolutely crushed the Sunday conversation with Caleb Presley, too.
Hell yeah.
So it's a great start for the Minnesota Vikings. Let's go to another overreaction, shall we? This is Easton Rudisil at Rudisil. Hashtag, I don't want to overreact, but Browns are cooked, dude. Deshaun, spelled wrong, Watson is a bottom 5 quarterback in the league. The Browns need to pull a Denver Broncos move and cut him and eat the salary cap hit. Winston should be the starter. Now, it's funny you add the W into that name because whenever you bring up Jameis Winston, you're talking about eating dubs. With how much they're paying Deshaun Watson, even with the Russell Wilson situation as precedent in Denver, this is Deshaun Watson's team until he says it's not.
Very untradeable contract. But you do have Jameis there. I think it's too early. It is week 1, and he didn't play great. Check down Charlie, check down Merchant, whatever you want to call him. But how many pressures yesterday, Tom?
25.
Yeah, had a couple backup tackles in there. 25 tackles. I don't know how you can operate an offense like that. Got to have some type of run game. But Deshaun, everybody's been saying, can he get back into the old form? That shit is over and done with. We need to see what Deshaun is going to be going forward. And at some point, you're going to have to make a QB decision, but not in week 1.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson of old form is like top 10 player in the NFL, top 5 player in the NFL, which is why he got $230 million guaranteed. Even with everything that was taking place, it was like when he was on the field for the Houston Texans, it was lightning.
Yes.
It was
Very good.
phenomenal to watch. I saw a couple plays yesterday that reminded me of old Deshaun. He broke free, rolled to his right, threw a ball. It was a completion. I saw a couple throws.
Couple foul ball.
To the bench.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that on purpose? Were those throwaway balls? Because it didn't look like those were throwaway balls.
No.
It looked like you were trying to, but it appeared to be throwaway balls. Dallas Cowboys defense is good, though. With Zimmer, too. We got to remember that. Yeah. Zimmer's Dallas Cowboys defense might be historic. We have no idea.
Yeah, they could be. I mean, how healthy is it? Do we know if he's 100%? Because throughout the whole preseason, remember there was days he would practice and he wouldn't practice, and then he wasn't playing in preseason. Like, how healthy is he? How good does his arm feel, honestly, in the rest of his body?
Schefter said he wasn't comfortable enough to play in the preseason or something like that, which made me believe that Schefter.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
what does that mean, though?
The way Schefter said it, it's like I think Schefter has some questions. Remember, he wasn't comfortable enough to play in the preseason. It's like Schefter said that in that way to kind of give
wasn't too long.
We don't really know what was all kind of happening.
Preseason wasn't that far ago.
That's true.
You don't want any lingering.
I mean, without those tackles, who is that comfortable when you're going up against Michael Parsons?
25 pressures.
How about Micah? How about the jump swat pick at the end there?
Kendrick.
Micah literally, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't catch that fucking thing.
Seriously.
I mean, he had
so good.
Lawrence had 2 sacks. Kendricks, I think, had 2 sacks.
Cowboys could be good.
I mean, they normally are.
Like, what I'm saying, I'm not doing it. I did it last year very loud.
They had a rookie corner covering Cooper, though. That's back-to-back years, and Bland, I believe, is out for a little bit. But they had a rookie corner on Amari Cooper, and he was holding his own. And obviously, they got Trevon Diggs. It's like they could be fucking nasty.
Hey, Zimmer's defense is a real deal, right, AJ? I mean, it's like.
Oh yeah, I came into Cincinnati after Zimmer had left, and a lot of those guys played for Zimmer, and they love the dude. They all do, for real. Like guys that like to play defense and do the right thing, they love Zimmer.
Pack has talked over and over about how much he loves Zimmer.
Yeah, and being a Packers fan, watching him I think, when he left, it was kind of just like one of those things where he'd been there so long, and it was kind of just like, all right, I need a fresh start somewhere else. But on the flip side of that, with Deshaun, it's like, that's why they paid him all this money, because they think he can be the guy where it's like, we don't have to make a billion excuses for him on Monday when they play like shit and get their asses beat.
Whoa!
You pay. He's supposed to be one of those guys that it's like, put everything on this guy's plate. He can handle it. That's why we gave you the biggest contract in the history of the NFL. And obviously, it's like with the injury stuff too. It's like at some point either the guy's got to get healthy or it's just like what are we doing here? You can't really just rest on that continually when they're paying a guy that kind of money.
And Browns fans are saying Joe Flacco just took this team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
We just watched Joe Flacco come in here and make the playoffs. And Spotrac released what the numbers would be if they were to cut Deshaun Watson. And we're not saying this should happen.
No, not going
We're not saying this. We're just telling you this is the information. Dead cap in 2024, 119, almost 120 million.
Okay.
2025 dead cap, 80.7 million. So remember, Russell Wilson is the $83 million in total. Next year would be 80.77 million in dead cap. For the cut Deshaun after 2024 crowd, 2025 dead, 119 million. 2026 dead cap would be 54. For the cut Deshaun after 2025, which is next year's, after next year's season, obviously, 2026 dead cap 73 million, 2027 dead cap 27 million. Mulligetta, man.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Mulligetta's a real deal.
Yeah, legend.
Cowboys too. Like Jim Schwartz in the Browns defense is fucking very good. So like the Cowboys on offense also great. Like you would think there'd be a little bit of a delay with CD not really doing training camp. Like,
he looked good.
Got to talk about the Cowboys offense being legit.
Did you think Zeke was involved? He was involved more than I thought. Like, I love that Zeke was playing, getting the ball early. Like, that was cool.
Last year, he looked like he had got his legs back.
Yeah,
Zeke can block too. Zeke can block. That's why people love him. I think his teammates love him. Zeke's not scared to stick his head in there and block dudes.
Yeah, he was the Patriots' best player because Ramondre Stevenson went out, and like that's all the Patriots really had. Like when we beat the Steelers on the road, like it was all Ezekiel Elliott. So him being back there is sick, and like probably vibes for Dak in those guys, and even Big Mike getting Zeke back. Like you can't really put a number or anything on that, but that was probably pretty big for them.
Speaking of number 15, it's an interesting look, as he's running in
Yeah.
the Cowboys jersey. Gets to resell all those jerseys again.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad business there for everybody. Did you see Saquon Barkley has 2 of the top 5 jerseys being sold right now?
Yep.
I think he has like an alternate and a regular one.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud's in there. I think Caleb Williams is in there. I assume Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce probably in there. NFL's doing
twice.
Yeah, I think
Kelly Green and then like the regular.
It just came out today.
Philly wears jerseys.
Check
those
on
fans. Those fans go.
And Philly could go.
Oh, absolutely.
How about Saquon being like the perfect fit for them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
and
perfect.
Penn State guy, so a lot of people from Philly are already massive Saquon Barkley fans. Saquon Barkley holds 2 spots in the top 5 best-selling jerseys in the NFL after week 1. Number 2 and number 5. Midnight Green, Kelly Green. 2 different greens, obviously. If you're selling green jerseys, okay, at that much of a clip, boy, Roseman's got to be so pumped that he's on that team.
And Mara.
He's our most popular player by far. And then Mara's going into Shane's office. He going, 2 of the top 5 jerseys. I told you, most popular.
3 touchdowns.
You know how many jerseys we're selling? They're burning Dan Jones jerseys in the parking lot. We're not selling jerseys.
They're not even burning them. They're using the hairspray gimmick
Yeah.
to spread the fire quicker.
But the Giants jerseys were sweet this week.
We're not selling. We didn't sell a single one of those jerseys. You know why? Because we didn't have Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
People threw out their jerseys because they were so disgusted by the throwback jerseys.
We charged them $700 for these new jerseys. The 5 people that actually bought them were doing a hairspray gimmick with a lighter, just like everybody else was.
We lost $5 million making these jerseys.
I can't believe it's not butter instead of hairspray, which is a little bit tamer. If somebody would have got them some Tresemme out there, that shit would have really went up in flames. That is a classic need a torch. This is how we operate thing. Not saying you should do it, obviously, because if that fucker comes back in bottle,
It's never good.
You're certainly in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. These people want to get rid of this jersey quick. Hey, Bruce Brown told us the story on Friday whenever he came out to the microphone, and we asked him his confidence level in the Giants. He said very low, very, very low. I guess he got attacked by Giants fans for saying that, not having faith. Do you feel justified in your analysis of the team that you love, or how do you feel about the New York Football Giants right now, Bruce?
I mean, not good. Daniel Jones did throw a hilarious pick 6 to Van Ginkel.
Prime.
Kind of just like I fucking said he would. But, no, vibes are terrible. Brian Daboll, I mean, it was kind of worse than I even expected. All summer you're hearing about how we're going to sling the pill more. We got Malik Neighbors, Dave's is calling the plays, but no, it was just kind of more of the same. We're sitting there in 12 personnel while Flores rushes 3 guys.
Van Ginkel's going to do that.
It's just
look at that play. He did that to Darnold in the preseason. We actually saw that.
Tackle's got to get his hands down.
Yeah, he's got to chop him down when he knows it's a quick ball out there. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but Giants fans not that pumped. Let's go to another overreaction, shall we? Hashtag.
This play was pretty up.
Boom. From Ted Hans III, hashtag I don't want to overreact, but second year in a row, the New York Football Giants have slowly disemboweled me emotionally with crude tools in less than 2 quarters of football after an entire offseason of flaming the dying embers of hope with more protection and weapons for fuck my life, free Drew Lock.
Wow.
All right, Ted, things are good.
That's good. All right, good post on X.
Bring in the bodyguard.
Yeah.
Bruce really feels like you guys are all feeling the same way. For that game.
It's over. Bill Belichick or bust.
Whoa.
All right, let's go to another overreaction here. This is from Jonathan Massey, Panthers fan here. Logo tattooed on me and everything. Wow. That's an expansion team.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean? That ain't generational. At least my fantasy teams are doing well. For now. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but being a Panthers fan makes me envy my grandfather since he's dead and doesn't have to witness this travesty taking place in Charlotte.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's the best one I saw today.
Jeez.
That's
good.
pretty fucking good.
Rest in peace, obviously, to Massey's grandfather.
Grandpa Massey.
Yeah, and he didn't even know the Panthers probably even were in Charlotte. So he didn't even get a chance to really even potentially have his heart broken.
Oh, man. They stink.
They are so bad.
There's like nothing to look at where you're like, hey, at least we have this. At least the Giants have a cool D line.
No, they got a golf simulator in the locker room.
That's true. That's true. And they have that cool CGI Panther.
Oh yeah, which is just basically an edited
Which they only use one time.
I was about to say,
Come
there's no way Tepper's still rolling that thing up.
Nah.
Well, it's literally you just press play on a video. It's just a video on your phone.
Yep.
Do they have a new stadium coming, or did that get X-named?
Well, they had two different facilities, obviously, and the town in the first city didn't want to fucking pay up, so Tepper said bankruptcy.
Yeah, I'm bankrupt.
I ain't paying. We got no money.
Those two last teams, they got an international game this year, right?
Against each other.
No
way.
Which
Here we go.
In Germany.
Giants, Panthers.
Oh, Guten Tag.
Yeah.
You don't deserve that.
Wasn't there a really bad game in Germany last year, and people were saying, "Oh, they did this on purpose to Germany."
And they did it again.
That was a decent game.
People are saying final reparations from WW2 for Germany.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
That's what they're saying?
Yeah.
They said it last year, so they're saying it again.
I didn't know people were saying this is just what you guys are seeing.
No, a lot of people are tweeting that.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Well, I'll tell you, as a person who's had a chance to experience Germany, people were good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Ireland, people were good to me.
Yeah.
The second time around.
Ireland was incredible.
I think in Ohio, you need to watch yourself, though, right now.
Well,
If
you got a
if
pet
you're a
duck.
duck,
yeah.
If you got a pet duck, I think you need to watch it.
Or a
Lock
cat.
your
What's
birds.
going on? What?
I think birds are getting snatched up.
They're snatching them.
Breaking them.
They're breaking them. They're cooking them. And they're eating them.
Is there cooking
Well, I
involved?
missed this.
Maybe not.
I don't know how it's going.
That's a great.
I just don't know nowadays, like,
Get it together. AJ.
what's real, what's not.
Is there a hashtag I don't want to overreact but on that guy's tweet too?
On the
They're snatching them.
All right, let's make our picks.
Oh, this team.
Watch, if you're a duck, watch it.
Yeah.
It's what I'm
Steer your
saying.
head on a swivel.
And geese, I think.
Hopefully,
Canadian
Springfield,
geese,
Ohio.
though. What's that, buddy?
Springfield, Ohio. They were in our league. We played them.
Where part of town is that? What part of Ohio?
It's around, suburb of Dayton. They were Springfield North and South when I was
not
there. I
too
believe
far
they're
from
one now.
That's DYT. It's right over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
pretty close.
Our
good.
geese need to watch themselves.
They do.
Maybe they're just getting ready for Oregon.
You're right.
There's Buckeye fans.
Big Buckeye fans.
Big Buckeye.
Could be.
fans.
Just trying to assimilate.
Yeah.
Just as quick as possible.
Send a message.
Yeah, let's OH. No ducks. No way.
I'm going to eat this thing.
Let's make our picks for this evening. AJ, I don't know if you saw how the weekend went in our official picks or not.
Oh, I did not, but I don't think I won many.
You actually did win some. You did win some. You went 5-9-1, 9-6-1. I'm seeing the board. Right now.
You
I'm seeing the board. Yeah, I feel
I'm
pretty.
due.
My game day picks not so great. Not so great. Historically bad, I think, is what people are saying in that entire. It's hard to figure out these college teams.
What about the Cox? Cox won. Big dog.
That was a big pick. That was a big
dog.
pick. The Cox, they ended up going up big over the University of Kentucky. I believe that ended up inevitably being the game day game. Like whichever team won that game, we're going to take game day
Because
too.
Kentucky's got Georgia.
Yeah, getting a chance to go down to
sense.
South Carolina is going to be awesome. But 9-6-1, I feel good coming out of the gates. Not as good as a human that won $50-some thousand though this weekend on a bet. Let's go to the toxic table at
hell
Boston
yeah.
Connor. You hit a massive one this weekend.
Yeah.
You hit a whale.
Yeah, I had a whale. Saturday night, just kind of threw together like a Alabama touchdown parlay. And then from what I won from that, I was like, you know what? Let's just put all of that onto one bet. Kind of one of those bets that you just say, all these guys are going to score. And on Sunday night, I'm going to say to myself, why the fuck didn't I just bet on these guys to score? And it was, it's Josh Allen, AR, Tyreek Hill, Kamara, and then Kenneth Walker, Mike Evans, Jerome Ford. Fucking nothing like a garbage time touchdown bet to get you through the day on a Sunday. Because that game was so bad. Browns couldn't move the ball. So, I mean, I was talking to Gumpy. I was like, I can't believe I did Jerome Ford instead of Ezekiel Elliott. Like, what the hell was I thinking? And then,
Trash time.
Just hand the ball off to Jerome Ford a couple times on the goal line, and it came home. Now we're sitting and putting it all on McCaffrey tonight.
Whoa.
All of it's on McCaffrey.
No, this is good. Look how big of a head start you have on the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You have a huge head start on the rest of the season, and you piece together these Hail Mary parlays all the time. You had a $1 million one that was also running this week.
Dude, oh yeah, I did. And it was 5 guys to score 2 touchdowns, and Stephon Diggs scored 2. Mike Evans scored 2. There was one other guy that ended up scoring 2. I had 3 of the 5 guys scoring 2.
Someone in the Eagles game, right?
So, Saquon, but that one ended up fucking losing. But but there was I hit 3 of the 5. All 5 scored at least 1 touchdown. Fucking Kenneth Walker and Tyreek Hill were the only 2 that did it. Oh, Josh Allen. There it is.
Okay, so congrats on it. 56,000.
Wow, we're sniffing around.
Hey, that's a massive hit.
Yeah, dude, let's go. I'm jacked up. I for shoot have really played with putting all of it on McCaffrey, but it's just not worth it. Injuries. It's just not worth it. Like, what happens when McCaffrey goes down? I mean, Schefter threw out Achilles today. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, he said it was
about?
calf. It was always a calf, but it's more so, I think, an Achilles.
Yeah.
It's like we hadn't heard that.
Whoa.
Not one time have we heard that. Doesn't matter with Christian McCaffrey, though. He's an absolute beast. All right, let's get to tonight's pick, shall we? Congrats on that. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Jets, 49ers in Santa Clara. 3.5-point favorites are the home team. Brock Purdy, more jacked than ever. Another season under his belt of successful football. Aaron Rodgers is back. Sauce Gardner, Fred Warner, Garrett Wilson.
Right.
Stars are out on Monday Night Football. AJ Hawk. Actually, D-Butch. We'll have you go first. D-Butch. 3.5-point favorites are the 49ers. How do you see it going this evening?
I hate that hook right there, but Jets obviously got a lot to figure out. Got to get some snaps together. I'm going with San Francisco 49ers. A lot of pieces. Obviously, offensively, got Purdy, got Kyle calling the plays, and Fred Warner still that middle linebacker on the other side of the ball. So I'm going with the Niners to win and to cover at home.
Okay, AJ, who do you have?
I like the Jets in this one, honestly. I think their defense may surprise some people, and hopefully Aaron, obviously, is Aaron. I think he still will be. So, yeah, give me the Jets.
Is it going to be like super tight? Probably, huh? I feel like it's going to be tight. Both defenses are going to hum.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe early. I think early could. Wow, yeah. You never know with these games.
Yeah, legit. And Aaron could come out, though, and also.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
3.5.
What if the Jets have like some success early running the ball, and then all of a sudden, boom, play action. Aaron's going deep down the seam. Garrett Wilson outside.
We need Brees Hall to have a big night.
Well, I think
fantasy football,
of course,
fantasy football.
Need that big time. But
I just found out he was on our team this morning, but need him to have a big night.
Going up against Garrett Wilson too. So let's
make sure we're on the ground.
Let's favor the run game.
Come on,
this is as healthy as they're going to be. I think it was Bill who said it. Like week 1's as fast as these guys are going to be, as healthy as they're going to be. Like their O-line is actually good when it's healthy. The Jets now, like we saw it with Baltimore. Those two of the 3 that Baltimore lost are.
I feel like I want to pick the Niners though because they had a guy get shot.
Yeah,
true.
You know that wasn't that long ago.
No,
and they're still riding that momentum.
And Trent Williams came back because of it. Like I could have been there to protect him. I fucking was.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been, but he thought maybe just because he was in the area, he might have fucking came out.
Yeah.
Pass ball. That guy's gone.
Wash him down into a city bus or something.
Yeah.
Actually, like it's a screen. He's clubbing. Clubbing and going.
Boom.
Yep.
Bang.
Dead. Gotcha.
For sure.
Did you see that guy? You see the tape of him running out, throwing a gun on the ground and doing the whole song and dance? 17 years old, they said. Come on, man. Middle of the day.
Sad times.
But not everywhere.
No.
That was a sad moment. It's not sad times.
Right.
Right? Let's think about that.
That's right.
Now, for those Ducks, I think it's sad times.
Yeah, good
Sad
luck.
times.
Sad times. I don't know. If a lot of sad moments equal sad times.
That's right.
It's true.
Just remember, we're in a good time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
49ers cover tonight. All right.
Okay.
Give me the Jets. For the Jets.
Ooh.
That was the most universe ball I've ever
Tight
seen.
game.
But yeah,
Last possession.
might be San Fran by 3 then. Jets to cover.
Okay, give me the Jets plus 3.5. Niners win though. I think I had a couple of those in my 9-6-1. I think like the Chargers Raiders thing. I think there's a few of those where it's like, hey, gonna be close. I kind of hedged it a little bit. A lot of people saying I was waffling. You know, got some messages from some friends and said like, you were really doing like, hey, I'm a good guy. Both teams win. I'm like, well, that's gambling, baby. That's fucking gambling. What do you think this is? I'm trying to fucking split the uprights here, pal. What a weekend. What a weekend of football, and it ends tonight.
Arizona 6.5. They lost by 6.
What'd you say? 8-7, 8-7, all these things?
8-7 for the favorites were 8-7. The over was 8-7, but favorites were 12-3 straight up.
Some of those 3, man.
Is that trend again?
Which I think is a lot. I feel like 12-3. No, I don't have anything to back this up off right now, but 12-3 that's high.
That's not accurate. What just happened there, right?
What?
I missed it.
Oh no, okay. The name isn't next to it. It makes the pick next to it.
I was going to say that confused me as well.
Yeah, it did confuse me as well.
Yeah, but it's not. You just got separated from
Like
it.
I thought I thought you took the Commanders, but you didn't.
No.
Just look for
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Anyways, let's move along. So we're both on the Jets plus 3.5.
Yeah.
Yep. Botched your shot on the Niners.
Yep.
It's been a good game.
What was that for?
I don't know.
The chickens
Anything else
or
for
the
Jets
ducks?
again?
I want to take the Jets, but I got to see.
Canadian
First.
geese in Ohio.
Yeah.
Man.
They're snapping them.
Swivel.
And they're eating them.
That's for the ducks.
Is there any chance they make their way west?
The ducks? I assume.
No, I don't think the Ducks are going anywhere.
Ducks fly together, so
It's over. All right. They need to quack, quack.
Yeah.
Down south. I watched the movie Migration.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Family of ducks was trying to get to Jamaica.
That-
Felt
that-
like an aggressive
That father did not want to go
Jamaica.
From
They're in some
And they're-
shitty old pond.
Yeah, the pond that they've always been in.
In Pittsburgh.
But the
wasn't
young kids, it wasn't in Pittsburgh.
Documentary? What is this?
It is a documentary of a family of ducks. The young ducks want to spread their wings and go see other waters. Dad, I like this fucking pond.
I'm sick of this, Dad.
This pond's safe.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know either. I thought it was very aggressive, the decision they made, but they fucking did it.
And how do they know that they wanted to end up in Jamaica?
I think so. Birds, whenever they're migrating, will utilize their pond as a stopping ground. So they've interacted with other ducks before.
Their travel
And
agent
other
told them
birds.
Jamaica was nice too.
Yeah, bingo. So there was a family of birds that came in before then that said, "We're going to Jamaica. You guys need to get to Jamaica," and then they left. And then that little duck was just stuck there thinking, "What is Jamaica?" In that little shitty ass pond.
All right,
And then they finally decided to go. To be clear, I watched the first 5 minutes of that movie.
You don't know if they made it?
I assume.
I mean,
yeah, I'm not,
They
I assume they were.
If I know movies, they made it.
Okay.
I don't like these kids' movies. So, transparency here. Didn't watch any Disney movies growing up. No offense to Disney, just didn't do it.
Yeah.
Just didn't do it. Didn't have time, didn't have the attention span, was busy doing stuff. So I'm watching a lot of these movies with Mackenzie, Why do we got to do something so brutal so early?
Wait till you watch Frozen.
So you
for
got to
the first
learn.
time. Watch Frozen for the first time. Boy.
Frozen?
Oh, my God. It's crazy how it starts.
Dude, there's this movie last night about, it's on Netflix, I think. I forget the name of it. Mom, Dead.
Yeah,
Really?
that's typically how they do it.
Mom,
most of them.
Mom, they made me love Mom, though. Mom was
Yeah.
the hero.
Yeah.
We got mooncakes, the family mooncakes, and she's like love, love, love. Oh, it's going great. This is our business. We're singing. We're doing the whole thing. Dead.
Yeah.
What?
Teaches them adversity.
Yep.
Yeah, adversity, exactly.
Man,
Things are going to go wrong.
When Mufasa died.
No spoiler,
childhood.
Jesus.
Dude, what the fuck?
I
you haven't
saw that
seen
one.
fucking Lion King yet. Like,
I just saw it, the new one.
Mufasa
I just saw
died.
the new one. They got a new one that came out like
The
last
live
night.
action. The live action
I
was
watched that one.
insane.
Good one.
I watched that. It was a good one.
Mind bending. Jungle Book.
Yeah. Up.
All of them.
Look at this guy. He loves his wife so much. He loves her so much, and she fucking dies.
Yeah.
Right away.
Why they do that all the time?
You got to set up the
I'm starting to
emotional
learn.
arc.
Bambi.
Inside Out.
Bambi.
Kind of.
Marley and Me.
Recently, one of the ones that doesn't do it.
No, they did. She was sad.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Sad.
Well, I'm just learning that this is going to happen.
Kill your
So how
parents.
long do I got to fast forward? Like 6 minutes?
Yeah.
Is that kind of how it goes?
Yeah,
20 to be safe.
Yeah, I'd say 15 to 20 to be safe.
You'll see a
The
montage.
last 10 minutes is always happy.
Yep.
I'm not like, hey, Mackenzie, yeah, you know what's about to happen. Don't fall in love with these people. Well, it's a very jovial singing person. Fuck them. Bad person.
Just wait. They're going to get eaten by a bear.
Dead. Golly.
Brave.
That's heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah, they're all like it for the most part.
All right, this is for the Jets tonight?
Yep.
Another one?
Doesn't have it in Mulan.
This is for the Jets.
I heard that. And Mulan. That ball doesn't count. It's a European
Yeah,
ball.
so-
Yeah, that's American
It's
football.
American.
But
sport.
Rogers did go to
McQuaid
Egypt,
shot.
though, so
Is Egypt, it's international, I guess.
international ball.
How is Egypt's basketball team? It's
Really good,
They
actually.
suck, dude. Holy fuck. They don't make it.
No, Mo Salah.
He
That's
plays
football.
basketball.
How are they? I almost said the word that you say for Croatia, Bruce, to Bill. I didn't know if I was.
I heard you catch
Yeah,
that.
you
right?
did.
I didn't know if I was
Croats?
allowed to say
I think
that.
yeah, I think you could say it.
You can say
Yeah, I think so.
It's
Oh,
just
sorry.
very close
Yeah.
to.
Hrvatska is what they call Croatia in Croatia.
Are they're
Bruce-
bad at lacrosse?
Born there.
Yeah, I would imagine it's a bit of a startup operation.
Pat Brownovich from there.
Every country except for the U.S. and Canada suck at lacrosse.
Let's feed him.
Who won? Hold on. The lacrosse title is happening, right?
The playoffs, yeah. They actually did I think they did like the Navy SEALs versus the Green Berets, and then they did the
Fire department, police department.
bingo, yeah.
In the playoffs?
No, just like
celebrity type game.
9-8 police department won. I think.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like came down to, and I saw the
Sick.
clips. Yeah, that was
Sweet. Yeah.
Very good game. I don't know how they got it the parody so good. I don't know if that's just the level of it all.
I think genuinely they like all the skill in both, obviously the Green Berets and the SEALs, but the police and the fire departments. Like there's just a lot of guys who play D1 lacrosse.
Well, how come no econ group gets to get dropped in there?
Good question.
Well,
that big lacrosse is big econ groups.
A lot of those guys play in the PLL.
Not the guy I know that used that 4-iron to fucking around.
No, not that guy.
How's our sweet Prince Patty Kavanaugh doing?
Fantastic. He had a fantastic goal the other day. I do believe the Cannons lost.
Yeah, they lost. His goal was one of the only ones. The other team scored a lot.
Yeah, they lost like a lot.
Gave a great speech to the coach of the Cannons beforehand, talking about we don't have any first rounders, and then he remembered that Kavanaugh was a first rounder, and he looked at him and said, "Nobody fucking wanted you."
Yeah, he's playing midfield too.
Are the River Rats doing it?
Kind of tough. That's not a team.
River Rats are a good team. They really.
Where are they from?
Yeah.
Raleigh.
Pittsburgh.
Albany's still in it.
The Atlas?
The Atlas, yep.
It's like the finals. We should know this. You should know this.
I'm pretty sure the finals are this weekend.
It's right here. It's right here in the front. It was right next to me. How's Notre Dame doing? Are we reloaded? We don't have any Kavanaughs.
Yes, they do. They got Chris. Chris is still there.
Oh, yeah,
He'll
Chris
probably be a Tuaraton finalist this year.
Oh, we love the Tuaraton. Cash App Championship, Archers and Whip Snakes. Yeah. Holy shit.
Whip Snakes upset the Atlas?
Well, I can't believe the Chaos who beat the Cannons, the Kavanaugh Cannons, lost to the Archers. The Archers are a good team.
Very good team.
Dude, Atlas, you're right. That's a big upset.
It's a barn burner. 12-11.
That's a huge upset.
What are we doing putting this on a Sunday?
Unfortunately, no one's going to watch this.
Bingo.
You never know. I think it might be at like, no, it's like
6 a.m.
11 a.m. start.
3 p.m.
So 3 p.m. is if all the 1 o'clock games are over and it's kind of decided.
That's right.
4 o'clock game hasn't happened yet.
Right during the witching hour. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Those who aren't watching Red Zone. DirecTV's still happening, huh, with ESPN?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Come on.
Feels like nothing's happening.
What are we doing?
Put your swords down.
Come on.
People need this.
Monday Night Football.
Figure it out. Price is the price.
I don't like it. It is.
Yeah.
You're lucky. Come on, we're a team.
Yeah.
But you don't need a dish, right, anymore?
No.
Nothing on the
You got a
top.
ball up there?
No, you just don't get any of the fucking channels you want.
Now you don't get anything because DirecTV isn't doing it.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's like, come on.
These negotiations.
They stink.
I hope IU has no catches tonight.
What? Whoa. What the hell?
What are you talking about?
What?
You can't say that.
You're an AP voter.
You can't fucking say that.
To be fair,
Definitely
I'm with
can't.
them.
Guy dragged the Steelers along for months just to say no.
Everybody. We talked about it for fucking 15 weeks.
I know, but the 11th hour, Jay knew.
Yeah, but I think I was trying to figure it out. He didn't know what he wanted to do.
Sounds like he did. He didn't want to fucking leave, but he wanted more money. And he didn't want to work, but he wanted more money.
All right, let's get out of here.
Just the new generation, man.
New
All
school
right,
dudes.
I'm on the Jets. So are you. You're on the Niners. I'm on the Jets plus 3.5. Niners win. Jets cover.
Okay.
Good game.
It's going to be a great game, though.
Fantastic.
It's going to be better than like 6-3 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Last night was tough to stay awake.
That was a tough
These
football.
primetime games are getting real late.
So was Friday.
Real tough.
So was Thursday.
These are real late.
Friday was a good game.
Friday was a great game. They're all great.
I know.
games.
They're all great games. It's still
Close.
tough.
It's very hard to stay awake. They start so fucking late.
If
If you
the
got a
light,
couple booze cocktails in you.
bingo.
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah, if the light also gets just a little bit,
Yep.
You cannot get horizontal.
no way.
You can't turn the
Cannot
lights on.
touch the bed.
Not a chance.
Lights got to be on, too.
Yeah, we need spotlights in
Yep.
the room. Maybe even music playing.
Yeah.
That's
Get
the
us through
move.
that.
There it is.
Get yourself a Viking, boys. You sit straight up in that thing.
That's your bed, though.
You sleep in that.
No,
Sleep
no,
in bed,
no.
gum.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's the bed when
Gump doesn't sleep.
True.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. But he's started sleeping in a bed as of late. I don't know if you guys
Because he's
know
drinking
pretty
silos
sweet.
of Red Bull.
that. Well, also, this is wearing a Liverpool tarp.
Yeah.
Retro 1994, third tarp. Good year. Carlsberg
Hey,
across
it's a
the
good year.
chest.
Carlsberg, yeah.
Hey, you never walk
Classic.
alone, pal.
Never walk alone.
Is soccer happening
Oh
right
yeah,
now?
top of the league. Actually, Canada beat the U.S. This weekend as well.
Soccer.
We
It's
don't
football season.
care.
Oh,
So
okay.
Christian Pulisic was too worried about getting a selfie.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
not
he
worried
was
about playing
playing.
Canada.
It's
Fuck
Fuck
sweet
no.
hat
on,
The sheep
too.
believes.
We're done with this fucking Team USA team. They played all their guys and we fucking lost. Done.
First
It's
time
football
Canada's
season.
beat the U.S.
Exactly.
on
We
U.S.
don't even have a
soil in
coach.
like 57 years.
Yeah, Poncho doesn't even want to fucking coach.
Pochettino's going to be announced this week.
Okay, we're back.
Sure.
Who gives a shit? It's football season.
Yeah.
Fucking no thanks.
I'm done with Pulisic too. You see this guy taking selfies, sticking his fucking tongue out with that hat he had on. What are you doing? You look like an asshole. Knock it off. You're supposed to be Captain America.
He was enjoying his life.
Fucking enjoy it. You
What is he,
win.
fucking 8 years old? I mean,
That's not what
fucking cameras on you, pal.
That's not what
Look tough. Look mean. Fuck.
he was.
That's
It's called
right.
Riz.
It's true.
It's called Riz, brother.
He wasn't risen.
He's allowed to have fun. He's
Not
allowed
while I'm watching. All right?
Jeez.
Not while we're fucking getting beat by countries who got 400 people living in them in the Gold Cup or whatever the fuck it was when we're supposed to win on home soil.
Copa.
Yeah, don't be making kissy faces into your fucking Snapchat when everyone's looking at you. I want to see him fucking mean mugging doing something.
Yeah. Fucking flipping the camera off.
Exactly.
Fuck you.
I would like to make a recommendation or a request for these TV networks. If we're going to shoot the celebrities in the crowd, you can bank those. You can get them when they're not doing.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very true.
You can very
true.
easily record those and say, look who's here,
Yeah.
and just get them in the first quarter and then just roll those as videos. Because, man, sometimes they'll go to somebody and I'm scared to death that that person's going to do something
Yep.
while they're on camera. It's like this could all become much easier, I think. Pulisic's not happy because he was cheering on the team. He was having a good time. He was drinking waters. He was getting focused to play Canada. He was actually juggling a soccer ball out there to work on his touch. They didn't catch any of that, did they? No.
I didn't see
They
that.
just got one time with his friend saying, it's cool.
Smooching.
They
Hey,
lost.
take a picture.
Wait till I tell you who he sent it
They
to.
lost before the photo.
Who are you sending a photo to?
Nah, not on air. Can't tell you on air.
All right, that's AP Tone. That's Talk Stable with Derek Brothers here. Everybody in the back, we appreciate you guys' great work. Happy Overreaction Monday. We'll be back tomorrow with a big time Tuesday. AJ, really good work, pal.
Hey, great work, guys. Tone, love it. Cannot wait till they take your vote away, Tone. Good job.
Never happened.
Come on.
Call us a better story.
Got to get at least one vote.
Yeah.
One
You have
voting
to.
cycle.
Once.
Yeah, we need Gonzo first, Steve.
Anthony Richardson threw the longest touchdown in the last 3 years or something like that.
So
He did.
Javon Holland punch out, saved the game.
I mean,
That
Ginkle,
was the biggest play of
touchdown.
the weekend, maybe.
Thank you.
yeah.
Javon Holland punch out while they were going into
Jags
the
were
end
going to go
zone.
up 24-7.
That was beautiful.
Dude, so many close touchdown turnovers in week one. But I guess these are things that you have to learn through. Situational awareness.
That's right.
Ernie Adams.
What a weapon.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he was able to end any time he wanted. So he's just walking around up there. Fucking hell. I figured it out. What do you say? Only first quarter. In the first quarter, you kind of got to figure halftime adjustments. You better fucking be doing it before that. What are we talking about?
I liked it when Bill said, "What? We'll wait till halftime for that, though." Like that seems like a lot. Let's wait till halftime for that.
Yeah, him. He loves ball.
Yeah, like Ernie telling Bill, like, hey, they haven't ran it yet, but they're gonna run it at some point, and we're gonna have to be in cover 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're only running cover 2 right now, so just so you know.
I haven't thrown it to Wilson yet, but he is running by.
Yeah, he's
Wilson.
killing us.
Wilson's killing us. They haven't thrown it yet.
He's got no catches, but he's killing us.
How about him saying, Shanahan, if something gets a little bit off balance, you know the other's coming.
Yeah.
You know the other's coming at some point. It's like, oh, that's a tell. That seems like a little bit of a tell, but I bet everybody understands that. He wouldn't tell us how he would guard Christian McCaffrey. I asked him like 3 times. He told a story about the Jets' history.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And all their players.
All the players that have ever played for the Jets.
And the Niners, too.
They were on the same team.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm not fucking telling the Jets how to fucking defend this thing.
You're right. He hates
Yeah.
the Jets.
And he said that the Niners stay to the outside.
Yeah,
Stay away from Williams.
Yep, stay away
Mosley.
from Williams and Mosley.
Yep.
Go outside.
I'm excited to watch tonight's game. All right. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice that might change your life. We're in the glory days right now.
Hell yeah, we are.
Right, AJ?
Yeah, absolutely. This is it right now.
Right here, right now.
Right
Right here, right now. Right here, right now. We're in this thing together. Team on me. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3, team. Goodbye.